Z92.7 WZBD Radio presents exciting high school wrestling. Brought to you in part by the many community-minded sponsors you'll hear. And now to the gym for the exciting action.
Well, good morning, wrestling fans, and welcome to the IHSGA Girls Wrestling State Regional here at Jay County High School. Rex Brewer running solo today as the 92.7 airwaves are busy with round two, or day two, of the Mishawaka Invitational, the Al Smith Classic. Today we have 39 wrestlers here today, wrestling in all the different weight classes. That means that some weight classes are more loaded than others. The 155-pound weight class is the largest class here today, and that class is going to have like a rat tail round. We are running right now with starting 155-pound matches. Right now on the mat is Danica Sorensen of Southern Wells. She is 2-3 on the season, and she's wrestling against Chelsea Irwin from Monroe Central, who's 2-1. Right now, the Monroe Central wrestler has Southern Wells wrestler on her back. This is the first period, minute 15 left to go here. This is the largest weight class, so what they're going to do is there are 6 girls in this weight class, so they're going to run basically a round by itself for the 155-pounders, and then they will start over again, and we will run through those 155-pounders until we get ready to go to the 100-pound weight class. And at that weight class, your winner by fall from Monroe Central is Irwin. With, let me get to the bracket here. Our 100 and 100-pound weight class will be wrestled here now. We're going to start this round. If I can get track wrestling to cooperate here with me. 100-pound weight class, we will have Henderson of Blackford versus affiliate of Monroe Central. Rowles of Jay County wrestle let's see. That is round one. There's just 2 girls in that weight class, so they will move that to round 2, as that will be the championship round. 105 class. There are 3 girls in that weight class, so Thomas of Jay County will wrestle Dawson of Westdale, and then Kiefer will wrestle Dawson of Westdale, and then they'll advance to the finals in round 3. At 110 pounds, there are just 2 girls in that weight class, so they'll save that to the championship bracket. At 115 pounds, there's 4 girls in that weight class: Emma Jones, Jolie Talman, Shania Gentili, and Tatiana Willis. So those 4 girls will wrestle in round 2. Right now, wrestling on the mat is a wrestler from Jay County. And this is a 155-pound match, and this would be Mallory. Nope, this is Madison Gage, freshman. She's 4-8 on the season, and she has just been a winner over L'Oreal McVicker of Blackford. By winner by fall in the first period. As we look through these, look through the teams here and see how many teams we have represented here. Bringing wrestlers in today as Monroe Central, Muncie Central, Blackford, Jay County, Southern Wells, Adams Central. Yeah, they show Belmont, Bluffton, Cowan, Daleville, Delta, Norwell, Randolph Southern, South Adams, Union City, Wapahani, Westdale, Winchester, and Yorktown all show wrestlers in this program today. Now we've made it through the wrestle-in bracket for the 155-pounders. So we're starting with 100-pounders here. Let's get to the dashboard here and see who's wrestling. This is Madison Henderson. She's a 10th grader. She's 15-6 on the season. And she's wrestling against Maria Oliphant from Monroe Central with a record of 5-5. Henderson of Blackford gets the first takedown. I do have a few guest coaches that are going to make their way up and sit in and have some conversations with me throughout the day. Henderson has turned her opponent from Monroe Central, has her on her back. She's going to pick up 3 near fall here today. Just 1 mat here at Jay County today, as they felt that if they put 2 mats in, there would be a lot of sitting around and waiting to make sure that they had plenty of time. So they're going to run this all on 1 mat with the finals scheduled to start at 11 o'clock. There's a big headlock by Henderson from Blackford. Cranking a headlock down, good position. Looking to get that outside shoulder down. Tyrone Wilson is one of our officials today. Did not get the name of the other gentleman. And Henderson of Blackford is your winner by fall. As I look at that bracket here at 110, or 100 pounds. See who's in that bracket with her. It looks like Kitty Rowles will be coming up next from Jay County. Miss Rowles must have had some weight to cut this morning when I got here to set up equipment. She was up around the top here running. This is Sophia Thomas, freshman from Jay County, who's 5-14 on the season. Sophia Thomas was a young lady that was running this morning. Jade Dawson is a junior from Westdale, who's 2-8. Is her opponent here at 100 pounds. This is 105 pounds. Both wrestlers working in on a collar tie. As Dawson from Westdale snaps down the head of Thomas. Spins and goes behind, gets the 2-point takedown. Runs a cross face, drops over to the side, running a false side cradle. And I do have someone in line to send the champions up here today. So the champions will come up and get a quick interview with them. Nice cradle locked up as Thomas of Jay County has been caught in a nice cradle by Dawson of Westdale. Your winner by fall is Jade Dawson of Westdale. And now coming up from Cowan, the #1 seed here today. And she's ranked 3rd in the state, and I will see that. She's at, that's 120 pounds. Just talked to her coach, Tony Abbott, and he made his way into the gym today. And this is Emma Jones of Cowans. She is 17-0 in the season, and she's wrestling against Jolie Tallman of Blackford, 4-13 on the season. This is a match at 115 pounds. I believe Jones is ranked 3rd or 4th in the state at 115 pounds. I did hear some information about one of the other regionals today that the Ocampo sisters, Juliana, is wrestling 110 this year, and Isabella is wrestling 115 to start this tournament series. I did see that Heather Crawl of Eastern is at 105, so that means that Juliana and Heather will not meet in the finals of state once again. There's a nice little fireman's carry hit by Emma Jones. Jones gets the takedown, catches the arm, and she goes headhunt. Doesn't get any back points here. She's still out front in a bulldog situation. Cuts her opponent loose, so she's going to get a 1-point escape. So 2-1 is the score with Jones of Cowan in front. Once again, we are on the WZBD YouTube channel. I'd like to give a shout out to all those of you who might be listening. And if you see my lovely wife B today, wish her a happy birthday. It is her birthday. As I knew it's going to be a short day, so we will be able to celebrate her birthday later on tonight. But wish her a happy birthday. Emma Jones gets another takedown, instantly throws in both legs, got boots in. She's working from a power half. Run those legs like nobody's business. She cranks that power half. Has Tallman over on her back. Tyrone's counting some near fall here. Jones loses her arm. She's going to get 2 near fall out of that. Once again, we'll be able to track team totals here today. As once we get through this first round. First period comes it in, and Emma Jones of Cowan has a 8-1 lead over her opponent. Now, those of you that have been following the website blog that Dane Filling had out there for the Belmont wrestlers competing at the Al Smith, had a good updates, along with the Adams Central wrestlers that were wrestling over at West Lafayette. They had a good day yesterday. They won the team tournament over there. Emma Jones throws a headlock. Tallman has trying to counter it. Jones doesn't have a near fall situation yet, so she hasn't been awarded a takedown. As Tyrone's taking a look there. Gives up the headlock, spins, goes behind, gets the takedown. Jones is trying to counter a reversal here as Tallman trying to get around behind. 10-1's the score as Jones hangs on that leg. She's trying to work away and turn that single leg into control. And Tallman is going to work her way around behind. And Tallman gets a little bit too high, rolls over top. And Jones is going to catch an arm, remain in control. So Jones throws both legs in again. She's going to run that double grapevine. Work on a power half. She turned her for 2 points earlier in this period. Stalemate call by Tyrone as they're going to go up neutral now. Or, I'm sorry, back in the referee's position. Jones remains in the top position. She's going to climb on Ryder from the left side. Once again, just 39 wrestlers here today. We have 1 mat on the floor. Easy to keep track of the information. As Jones runs a crossface in a bundle and puts her opponent over to her back and gets the fall in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Your winner by fall is Emma Jones as she remains undefeated on season, goes 18-0 over Jolie Tallman of Blackford. Cowan Blackhawks, their traditional yellow and black with Coach Abbott is in his bright yellow hoodie today with Cowan on it. The girls wrestling team for Cowan, they went with black and pink. Very attractive uniform, the Cowan Blackhawks. A bright fuchsia. Tatiana Willis of Jay County at 115 is now up, and she's going to wrestle against Cheyenne Gentili. And that is, I'm giving a forfeit here. It's a forfeit for the Blackford wrestler, as Willis did not make her way to the mat. So Willis did not wrestle today. Now we have another Jay County wrestler coming on here. And now she has been awarded a forfeit. So maybe there was a bracket change there that allowed those double forfeits. So those two will probably meet in the finals. As there's plenty of forfeits here today. So we'll keep track after this round and go back and see through who advanced. And now it's Jay County's Callie Yates. I think Yates was just awarded a forfeit there. Yep. So now there's Muncie Central versus Blackford making their way to the mat here. I think this is a 145-pound match. It is Cadence Jones of Muncie Central versus Addison Flores of Blackford. Jones is 14-12 on the season, and Flores is 9-9. This is a match at 145 pounds. There's a shot by Jones. She's in on a single leg. Trying to pick that up, work her way around. Flores is able to hit a underhook and pull her up out of there. Does not give up any takedown points. Once again, a sparse crowd filing in here, but the lower sections are maybe a quarter full. This being one of the smaller regionals in the area. I did hear that Coach Gary Myers, head of the Girls Coaches Association, said that there was 1,059 girls entered into today's tournament. 1,059. That's a great number. Where the commissioner, Robert Fulkins, didn't outright guarantee, but he said it was his intent to make sure that girls wrestling is sanctioned as a full IHSGW sport next year. Jones trying to prevent being caught in a headlock by Flores. Flores trying to throw a headlock, and Jones is able to fight that off and counter it. Gets the first takedown of this match. So Cadence Jones of Muncie Central has a 2-0 lead now with about 30 seconds left to go in the first period. Flores trying to hand fight here. Work her way up from the bottom. Once again, just like you, I'm going to keep track of some of the other wrestling going on here today. Keep track of how the Belmont wrestlers are doing up at Mishawaka at the Al Smith Classic. They put 3 wrestlers into the semis. They still have a couple of wrestlers working their way back through the wrestleback round. I would track it on my computer, but I'm running on the guest Wi-Fi here, and apparently it thinks that the WZBD website has adult content in it, and it is blocked. I'm prohibited from looking at it, so I know that there's nothing there that cannot be seen, but just due to the schools, they don't allow you to use that here at Jay County High School. So I will keep track on my phone to see how things are going. This match between Cadence Jones of Muncie Central and Addison Flores from Blackford is 2-0 as they start the second period on her feet neutral. Jones with a nice double leg. No sprawl from Flores. Jones gets the takedown. She's looking for a half and a head hunt. Doesn't get it, so she's going to take a 4-0 lead here at 145 pounds. Let's see what this bracket looks like here at 145 pounds. It looks like Parsons of Jay County is also in this weight class, so they will have to wrestle in this next round. Flores gets a reversal. Flores comes from behind. Flores was trailing 4-2, and she gets a reversal. Catches her to half. Nice big hug when it's done. A little bit different than the boys wrestling. Thanks for the update, Dane. Also, there's a few IHSGW regional wrestling shirts here. I've got my eye on one. See if I can snag my friend that Dane and I won. since he has apparently picked up a Bricky shirt for me up at the Hobart Brickies. Looks like a good matchup there at 113 as defending state champion Charlie LaRocca is about to lose in the semifinal match to the wrestler from Hobart, Seth Aubin. I was in looking at some of the brackets last night on Al Smith, and there's some big matchups today. Now on our mat is Paisley Chambers from Westdale. She's wrestling against Jocelyn Sutton from Muncie Central. This match is at 170 pounds as Chambers, very aggressive on the opening takedown, gets that takedown. So Sutton will set up in a down position. I'd like to thank our fine sponsors that are bringing this wrestling action here for you today. And those include Jackson Associates, Jay County Wrestling Club, Indiana Girls Wrestling Association. Chambers running a nice chicken wing here as she drives Sutton to her back, and she's a winner by fall. The winner by fall, 170 pounds, is Paisley Chambers of Westdale. Jay County Wrestling Club, Indiana Girls Wrestling, the Fort Wrestling Facility, and Jackson Associates are our sponsors for today's wrestling action. And we will get some of those advertisements in here as this first round is quickly making its way through. We will probably have to take a little bit of a break here as the girls will need 30 minutes rest between. That's why they ran a 155-pound class first. Now on the mat is Jay County's Tessa Miller. She's a senior, 5'14", and she's wrestling against Sophia Gropp of Westdale. And Gropp hits a headlock, very reminiscent of Bobby. Just lost the name. Westdale used to have a young man that was the headlock king. His name will come to me here in a minute, but he headlocked everyone back in the day, probably in the late 90s. She's putting the pressure on as Tessa Miller trying to work her way out of it, keeping that shoulder up, puts that shoulder down. As Gropp really cranking it out, she's turned her back in, brought her back in bounds. Get her shoulders inside line, and there's the fall. Tessa Miller of Jay County has been defeated, the senior. Let's see if she will. I don't think there's any wrestlebacks here today. So that ends the 170-pound match. And I don't think there are any more rounds right here. Let's see if they can give me a little information here. Get some updates in. See if we have anybody else coming to the table. It doesn't look like there's any other wrestlers lined up here. So I'll take this opportunity to get some commercials in for our sponsors. We're back with more wrestling here on WZBD YouTube channel right after this.
The Fort Wrestling Facility at 1519 Goshen Road in Fort Wayne is building young wrestlers all across the Fort Wayne area, one practice at a time. Join us for a live practice session or one of our upcoming camps at the Fort Wrestling Facility. Just check out our website today at thefortwrestling.com. Open to wrestlers 5 years old through high school, don't miss the chance to train with wrestlers from all over the area, focusing on technique, conditioning, and learning how to love the sport of wrestling. The Fort Wrestling Facility, building wrestlers in the Fort.
Indiana Girls Wrestling is a non-profit organization that promotes female wrestling in the state of Indiana. Our purposes are to be a public advocate for females participating in the sport of wrestling, to provide competition and training opportunities so that female participation in the sport of wrestling can grow within the state of Indiana, and sponsors an all-star team named the Indiana Inferno for regional and national competition. IGW hosts the USA Girls Midwest Nationals in early October of every year, and over the past 7 years has grown to be one of the largest all-girls dual and individual open tournaments in the country. This year, the duels had 30 teams from across the country, with 5 from Indiana, and over 500 girls competing in the individual open. So be on the lookout for more all-girls tournaments sponsored by Indiana Girls Wrestling in the near future. For more information, you can go to indianagirlswrestling.com or check them out on Instagram or Facebook under Indiana Girls Wrestling. At Jackson Associates Financial Services in Portland, we are committed to maintaining the highest standards of integrity and professionalism in our relationship with you, our client. We endeavor to know and understand your financial situation and provide you with only the highest quality information, services, and products to help you reach your goals. Give Troy a call for the latest rates on CDs and learn about the advantages in today's financial climate to invest in your hard-earned dollar. That's Jackson Associates in Portland. The Jay County Wrestling Club is a great place for your son or daughter to learn the great sport of wrestling. Our club does a great job of developing youngsters into better athletes using gymnastics, wrestling technique, and strength training. If interested, check out our Facebook page for practice details and to stop in.
Welcome back to Jay County High School, to the Girls Wrestling Regional. And as promised, I am now visited by the head coach of the Jay County Wrestling Squad, Eric Myers. And Coach, not a big, massive tournament today, but it's one that you need to get through to take the girls to the semi-state. And participation a little bit down for this one, but I think this was known to be one of the smaller regionals in the area, and it'll get these girls some good seeds going into semi-state next week.
Sure, and I think looking at it, ours was the third smallest out of the 16. But we're hoping to build up. Our numbers are a little low. Adams and Wells County. I think we got the one Southern Wells girl, but hopefully we can get some of those solid programs in our regionals start getting girls out.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that nice little crowd in here today coming in. I kind of interesting. I didn't see a lot of team buses in the parking lot, but then I realized that a mom and dad rolled up and their daughter got out of the back seat, and it's like she was the one wrestler from their school, and it makes sense. And you're not going to have the team typically like your boys team might be off someplace. And you got a lot of equipment out on the road, but this is what you do to make sure your sport builds and grows.
Absolutely, and I think Muncie Central has a decent number of girls that I believe they brought a bus, and Blackford has a good number. I think we entered 13 today, so Jay County had the most girls, but I think we get started here again about 9:40, and
I know that Blackford was in the lead after that first round, is that they have brought a pretty good squad, and that was one of the teams that we did cover early in the season, the first all-girls dual meet that we did cover between yourself, Jay County, and Blackford, and they've got some pretty decent girls that are wrestling for them. Yeah,
they do. I was impressed with their numbers. They probably have about as many girls on their girls squad as they do on their guys squad. So, and I think they kind of feed off each other a little bit. Sometimes you get a few extra guys out because a girl came out, or vice versa. So
why don't you give me a little breakdown on how you've managed it, with a good number of girls in your squad and a very solid boys team. I mean, I've seen your wrestling room set up, but tell me how you've set up your girls program to give them as much emphasis as the boys.
So first of all, we were lucky enough whenever they started the girls state tournament series, already have a couple girls in our program, and that doubled our numbers right away, because there was an offer of a way that girls could compete just against other girls. So we've built on that. We got involved. There's a really good judo program in Portland, Judo on Judo, and we ended up getting a couple of those girls, and that's helped us build the program also. Then moving forward from there, as we started to get into the double digits of girls, being able to separate and have separate boys and girls practices, I didn't really realize how intimidating that was for the girls, but that makes sense. And then I was also lucky enough to have some dads that were very knowledgeable as far as wrestling coaching to help out. So that I think that's one of your issues that some of the teams run into, where they have a small high school wrestling staff, and then you're asking them to right now double their schedule and double their practices if you want to split them. So I was lucky enough to have a solid enough staff to be able to do that.
I do know that. It's pretty obvious, but when they started talking that girls wrestling would be sanctioned as its own sport, and that they're going to start having tournaments for just girls wrestling, and girls realized, I don't have to wrestle against boys. I don't have to practice against boys, because teams like yours, teams like LaPel and Penn, and some of these New Haven have some of these big squads. Columbia City, another team that has a lot of girls. They realized, I don't have to compete against boys. I don't have to have that embarrassment about being really manhandled by a boy, and I'm going to have my own sport. And we just saw those numbers just shoot up.
Absolutely. And another thing that I think is important to look at is you had some girls that really didn't have something that they could do during the winter. They were maybe volleyball players and softball players, but they weren't basketball players, and they didn't want to swim, and this just gave them another outlet. And usually those girls that are in those other sports, the volleyballs and the softballs, they're your aggressive girls. They're athletic, and it's a pretty easy conversion.
Coach Pandowski down at Carmel told me that he had some girls run a girls rugby team, and they decided they want to play. And it's like, who more aggressive than a girls rugby player do you want on your wrestling team? I mean, that's a perfect match.
Yeah, that's as close. That's kind of the equivalent of grabbing guys off the football team.
But we've seen great success. I know that Gary Myers had talked to Dane Filling, and Dane put it on our website that today 1,059 girls are what signed up to wrestle in today's regional, I believe.
That's amazing, isn't it? And I'm just so happy that people were able to put together this girls state series, and it's become a thing, not only in Indiana but nationwide. It's awesome for our girls.
Coach Myers said that he had he anticipated close to 1,500 girls registering. Now, there's girls that may have registered that wrestled dual meets that didn't want to participate in a series, and some of those just didn't feel that they're at the caliber they wanted to be. I don't know what the difference between a 1,500 and 1,000 is, but 1,000's a good number. And you were at the same coaches association or the referees association meeting with the coaches invited to, where Robert Falcon said that it was his goal. I mean, he didn't out and out commit to it, but he said his plan is to have girls sanctioned as a IHSGW state next year.
I'm really interested to see what that looks like. I'm excited for it. I think it provides more legitimacy for girls wrestling, which is, with over 1,000 girls wrestling today, I think we've already shown how legitimate it is, but I think it just adds to it a little bit. And with the IHSA taking over those state tournament series and making it resemble kind of what the boys looks like, I think that will help to bring some fans over also.
Now, I think we really have to give a lot of credit to the Girls Coaches Association with Gary Myers and Pat Culp and J.D. Minch and those kind of people who really kind of, just like when the IHSAA dropped the team series, the Coaches Association picked up the girls series and said, look, they're not going to do it. We need to make sure that these girls have every opportunity they can. And I tell you what, I've been to the state finals the last few years. We've covered on WZBD, and they are legit. They put on a great program. I mean, they make it as exciting for the girls as they do for the boys down at Gamebridge Fieldhouse. And if you have nothing to do on that day, you need to go to the Kokomo Fieldhouse, and watch that wrestling, because there is some phenomenal girls wrestling out there today in the state of Indiana.
Yeah, so much fun. I think about, I'm sure you were there too. There was, I think the Alani Davis, her freshman year, she went, and then I think it was one of the Northmont twins. But that match went all the way to sudden death overtime, and it was one of the best matches I've ever seen, boys or girls. And I thought, man, if everybody that is a wrestling fan, especially on the guys' side, could see that match, they would be converts pretty quickly.
The last couple of years we've seen two of the most elite female wrestlers in the state and in the nation in Giuliano Ocampo and Heather Crawl wrestle in the state finals. Have met 2 years in the finals. Ocampo champion in both those years. This year, Ocampo's at 10 and Crawl's at 5 as they start a series today. So they won't meet in the finals again. So that was a great match that we saw. That 105-pound match last year, in the top 4 girls, those 4 girls were ranked in the top. All 4 of those girls in that weight class were ranked in the top 20 in the nation for their weight class.
Yeah, you had, was it Joy Cantu and Mackenzie Smith, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, that semifinal was pretty amazing. But, selfishly, it's kind of a bummer not to see Curl and Ocampo again in the finals. But, both of those girls deserve to be state champions.
Now, their coaches have made sure that their girls, I know that I talked to Jimmy Lynn at New Haven. They counted out the number of points they have, because I think the whole girls series is only 2 points for them, right?
Yes.
Okay. So they basically set out the first couple of girls matches, and then that lined them up so they could wrestle in a boys series and a girls series. I know that Joy Cantu wrestled at Mishawaka yesterday, and she's defeated, so is able to wrestle here today in her regional to make it through, as she's going to be one of those top 4 girls again, making her way down the state. But some people have complained. I mean, there's some people out there, the Giuliano Campos and the Isabella Campos, that are wrestling at the boys level and can compete in our state qualifiers. When girls wrestling is sanctioned, girls wrestling will be girls wrestling, and there will be no crossover to boys wrestling. Now, some people are saying, well, that's not fair. Well, you can't have it both ways. Either you want your sport to be sanctioned as an IHSAA sport, or you don't. If it's sanctioned as IHSAA sport, it's no different than basketball or football. If you offer a boys tournament, a boys team and a girls team, the girls cannot wrestle on the boys, and the boys can't wrestle on girls, just like it is a basketball. So what's your feeling on that?
I think, all right, my feeling is that I feel for those girls that that want to wrestle on the guys' side that are,
that are competitive.
Very competitive, that are top-tier girls. I really do, and I understand their argument. But I do, in my feeling, it seems like that's a casualty that we have to absorb to improve girls wrestling and to make girls wrestling, ready to be an IHSA sport. And I think that as we continue to move forward, that sanctioning is going to increase numbers even further.
So here's my point. This is Rex Brewer's point. It has nothing to do with WZBD. What is more important, to be a 2-time boys state qualifier and get beat on Friday night, or be a 4-time girls state champion?
I think it sounds pretty cool to be a 4-time girls state champion.
Okay, so there's the trade-off.
Yeah.
Now we have started 155-pound matches, and while you're right here, you can stay with me and help broadcast this match as Mallory Winter of Jay County gets a takedown. She is currently 16-0, undefeated at junior, as a 2-time defending state champion. She's at 155 this year. She was up at, was she at different weight last year?
She was at 170.
Yeah. And she's wrestling against Chelsea Irwin of Muncie Central, who's 3-1 in the season. And Mallory quickly pops her over her back, runs a half, and puts her away. And I've seen a couple of your girls that look like they really changed and dedicated their season. Like she was at 70 last year. She's cut some weight off. She's hit the weight room. She's changed her physique. I know that you have another girl that looks a lot like her, the other blonde, Leah Lingo.
Yes.
Lena Lingo.
Yeah.
And she has really committed herself to this program and really dedicated it, worked out, and cut some weight, changed weight classes to get to what they felt was the most competitive weight for them.
Absolutely. And another one, Emily Maynor, who's at 140. She's undefeated on the season. She was a state placer last year. She's kind of battling through an injury right now, but she's able to go. She's had a really, really good season too.
Now you got another girl here at 155. This is Madison Gage. She's a freshman. She was a winner by fall in her first match, and she's wrestling against Amaya Stoudemire from Muncie Central right now. And Stoudemire is 10-15 on the season, and Gage is 5-8 on the season. But this young lady who wrestles Mallory Winter every day in practice has to have some of that high-quality skills rub off on her, isn't it?
Yes. I coached her older brother. He graduated 2 years ago, and she's always kind of thrown around the idea of coming out, but we finally got her out this year. So
she's a tall one. I mean, you must have stole her off the center on a basketball team there, Coach.
We're trying to make sure that the girls' basketball team doesn't see her.
She's one of the taller 155-pounders in this weight class. As they're still wrestling, working for some inside collar tie situation. But she had a very impressive fall in that first match, very quick fall in the first period. But she will. Now, what's your take on more than one girl from each team being allowed to put in a weight? I mean, that boosts your numbers up, but you're going to have girls from each team wrestling each other.
Yeah, and that's something that I think. I'm kind of excited for the IHSA adoption because you'll see less of that. But then also you do have a catch-22 there because you want your girls to have matches. And
yep.
You want as many girls to have the opportunities as we can.
Now, I know that you guys go to a lot of tournaments. Who are some of the other schools around that have really adopted and promoted girls wrestling, that have had some of these big tournaments to allow these girls to get extra matches? I mean, look at this girl here. She's got 25 matches on the season, from Muncie Central.
Yeah, Muncie Central has bought in Coach AJ there at Muncie Central. He does a really good job. And he's just, I'm sure, I know that you guys have talked to him a few times, but he's just one of the pretty good guys for the sport. Does a good job with his boys and girls team.
Keeps it in a family. He hired his wife as a girls head coach.
Yeah, I wonder if he's tried to hire his brother ever.
I think he's tied up with Coach Abbott over at Cowan, isn't he? Now your wrestler Gage gets the takedown right at the buzzer. She goes up 2-0. I did go down and talk with Coach Bradley's wife earlier, as I had to deliver one of the new Hager Hershey Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly Revision 2 shirts that I am proudly wearing here today. And so there's one of them in Delaware County that I know of for sure. But we're going to open up that catalog here later on, as there's a couple of people. You know, you've been that way with shirts. You order shirts and tell me, here's the cutoff date, and right after the cutoff date, hey, I'm going to order a couple of them shirts. No, you missed the cutoff. There's a cutoff. You know, these guys have to print them. So naturally, everybody always wants one after they shut the catalog down. But we will open up that catalog, and I'm sure that my buddy Dane will put the link out there someplace. A nice far side half and a bar from your wrestler here, Gage, and she turns her back, and there's a fall.
She's having a good day. Her being a freshman, first time out this year, aggression and confidence was something that we really had to work on, and it looks like she's gaining some steam as we move along.
You know, as tall as long as girls are at 155, I mean, you could really hang some weight on her in the weight room and really boost her up and turn into a possible multiple state placer here.
Yes. And like you said, having someone like Mallory Winter to work with, that's just going to help her.
Well, you know, if she wants to be a state champion, she's got a couple more years for Mallory. She needs to find a different weight class.
You're right there.
And your wrestler here from Jay County now is on a mat, and is that Rowles?
Yeah, Katie Rowles.
And she is wrestling against Maria Oliphant from Monroe Central, and she's turned her quickly with a half Nelson. And Nat she wins by fall there, quick 24 seconds. But Nat Wood was telling me on the radio broadcast earlier this year that she'd been a cheerleader her whole career. Wanted to be a cheerleader, and you know, with her brother Cody being in the room and her dad being one of the assistant coaches, and she changed and she went from cheerleading to wrestling, and she's dedicated herself, and she's 100% in on this now.
I'll tell you that, and gymnastics is not a bad place to recruit from. I think sometimes we view cheerleaders as you know, maybe being I don't know if you
a non-athletic sport.
No, well,
it is.
I think maybe more of a little bit more of a passive sport, but cheerleaders tend to be pretty athletic. They have some of that gymnast quality in them. So we have I think we've had 3 cheerleaders come out, and all of them have been, you know, they're able to do back handsprings right away. So, you know, the athleticism is already there. You just have to teach them the technique and some of the aggression.
And you know, they definitely have the spirit.
Yeah, they do have the spirit.
So now wrestling is Daleville's Kinley Kiefer wrestling Jade Dawson from Westdale, and she's quickly in on a couple of takedowns, release her. But like I said, you said you got some girls out of the judo class. If you go online and watch judo is a lot of wrestling throws and stuff, and very similar to wrestling, and I could see where that'd be a great crossover for those girls.
Yeah, and I think that the school in town, I think we complement them pretty well. They see their kids have a little bit more aggression once they've come out for wrestling, and we love their hips whenever they get into the wrestling room. So they have a little bit of a head start that way.
And also, it gives them a little more another outlet because you know, if I don't know how many judo tournaments there are around, but if they have a season that runs certain, I mean, like I said, if there's an off season, you could fill wrestling into your judo season and vice versa.
Absolutely.
And your winner by fall is Kinley Kiefer of Daleville. She is a freshman, and she is now 14-1. And you talk about a go-getter. She was all over Miss Dawson from Westdale, winner by fall in under a minute there. And she's a real deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
13-1.
She's tough. Was that 105?
That was 105,
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't see Daleville. I'd really love to see Katie Rouse face off against that young lady. Yeah, earlier you were talking about Coach Gary Myers. I know that you referred to him as the Iron Bear.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if you have another nickname for myself or Coach Tim Myers so that we can distinguish between the Myers trifecta there.
Well, sometimes Dane will text me and said, Coach Myers, and I'll say, which one? Your buddy down south or our buddy in Decatur or the Iron Bear? And we talked to the Iron Bear on the radio, and he wrestled a good buddy of mine, my neighbor growing up, Tony Roman, and I asked him, it's like, how did you get the name Iron Bear? And oh, nice, there's a double throw. I said, how'd you get the name Iron Bear? And he said that his mother had always called him the Bear, so he was always Bear to his mom. And he said after he graduated high school, he was wrestling in some Olympic stuff, and he was in Russia. And he said he wrestled one of their world champions or something and pinned him, and the news article in Russia come out, and he said, as tough as he was with our men, he said he's not the Bear, he's the Iron Bear, and it stuck. So it took a Russian newspaper to give him that name. So you're gonna have to pick up your game if you want to get a name.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have the Russians giving me a nickname anytime soon. So it might have to be you or Dane.
Now I'm gonna give a phrase here that DJ used. This is a cowboy fight here.
Yeah.
As Kylie Schell from Muncie Central just come off of her back, and she's wrestling against Monroe Central as Michaela Brainerd, and Schell is 11-8 on the season, and Brainerd is 7-6. But they've both had each other on their back, and right now this match is 5-3, and it's just still 45 seconds left to go in the first period. As Brainerd is running a power half, and then she gets a little too high and gets reversed. So this thing's going back and forth, Coach.
Yes, I was excited to see the Brainerd girl wrestle. She was a Jay County student a couple years ago. I had her in class, and I had mentioned wrestling to her a few times, and Monroe Central is a little bit more successful in getting her out than I was, but I was happy to see her out on the wrestling mat. And
in some of the things you see that the girls do is some of them get out of position, and that's if they have not been wrestling since they were small boys, like a lot of young boys have wrestled, you get that position, you feel if you get in a bad position, you bail out. Some of the girls get caught up in that, and they get out of position and they get too high and things like that. Is that one of the things that your coaches and our girls team work on these girls to a little bit more refined?
Sure, and in the practice room, you just have to get some live wrestling in, because a lot of those girls haven't been in those situations, and they've got to feel them and feel the positions that work and where they need to put their hips and where their head needs to be a lot of the time.
I'm back in the day, I know that techniques and training philosophies have changed, but back in the 70s, Coach Calvert would put us in a situation. He'd get a guy on his back, and then that guy on top would bury a half and get it deep, and it's like blow the whistle and go. One guy on top's got to stick him, guy on bottom's got to release him. Now those are drills that are great, because good wrestlers a lot of times don't find themselves on their back, and they get on their back and they're not used to being there, and they don't recover well. So even if you're a good wrestler and you're undefeated, you need to practice getting off your back, because you could get caught on your back in a tough situation and get stuck.
Yeah, you always want to have those things in your back pocket so that you say, hey, I remember wrestling live situations in practice, and I remember what I had to do there. But like you said, you don't want to be a deer in the headlights whenever you end up in that position.
I was going through some old research, and I found my dad was a statistician. He would get so nervous when I wrestled that he didn't like to watch the matches, because he just got too nervous. So he kept stats on everything, and every guy on the team, he kept track of how many takedowns he got, and how many reversals he got, and how many near falls. I went back and looked, and in my 3 years of varsity career, I found one time where I gave up three-point near fall in 3 years.
It's pretty good.
So when you talk about fighting off your back, doesn't mean I wasn't good at not fighting off my back. I just didn't get put to my back, because you feel the situation is at a point where you don't want to go to your back, and you don't have to bridge that well.
I like the idea that your dad had to keep himself busy to take away some of those nerves.
He said that he'd come home, and he said that he'd be so sore and wore out. They do these twisting moves and things like that, and then later on he took on from photography. So your former student here, Michaela Brainerd from Monroe Central, ends up being a winner by fall in a rough and tumble match. That was a 7-5 match. She come from behind. She was trailing that match 7-5 to get the fall. So great action there. That is 100 and what weight class is that? 120. That's 100. No, that's 120 coming up next. Must have been a 110-pound match. Yep.
Okay.
But great action here from Jay County. And now what they told me is the guy running track said that you got he ran one round of just the 55-pounders to get them put through. Now you're basically going to run 2 rounds. You got this advancement round, and then you'll have the finals. And there are several weight classes where there are 2 girls in there, so they'll be right into the finals then.
Yes.
And those finals scheduled for, say, 11 o'clock, I think?
That's about the time I would anticipate.
So now on the mat, we have Courtney Thrash of Muncie Central. She's 11-13 on the season. She's a junior. And you have Isabella Wendell from Jay County. She's 1-4 on the season. What can you tell us about your wrestler here from Jay County? She's a senior.
She's a young lady that we had been working to get out on the team. She's a soccer player. She's pretty aggressive, pretty strong. She kind of dealt with some injuries earlier in the year, and she's back out on the mat. Just kind of see what she can do here.
Well, it's good to see her out. Glad she's made her way through her injuries, and that's one of those things. You look for those sports that are a little more aggressive. I had a nice conversation with Coach Shepard from Western, and he said that he had a girl on the wrestling team, and she's a softball player. And you mentioned about softball being an off season. She told her friends, "Hey, we're not doing anything. We're not going to go up and hit in the batting cage all winter long. If we hit the weights and go and be on a girls wrestling team, we're going to lift weights, we're going to run, we're going to train, we're going to get in shape." She said, if nothing else, we'll be in way better shape when the time softball season rolls around. She said, we're going to go out. And he said he got quite a few girls come out that were off the softball team.
Yeah, those girls are usually pretty hard-nosed, and it's a much different sport, but they understand the process of training and working hard, and they're usually fairly athletic girls.
So we're getting ready to go here. This is a 120-pound match. Let's see, probably 2 matches here.
I may make my way down there after this match, Rex.
Well, why don't you cut out now? You go down there and help him coach. She just got tossed in a nice headlock there by Elizabeth Wendell. But we do appreciate you coming up here. And one of our sponsors today is the Jay County Wrestling Club, and also Jack's Associates, Troy Jacks, one of your assistant coaches. And that's the kind of commitment we need from sponsors, that the local Jay County people have come up and said, we're going to support Jay County wrestling, girls wrestling, and they're here for the whole season.
Yeah, and Coach Jax he's a great guy. Always a solid supporter of wrestling, and he jumped in to help. He had helped in the junior high, and had kind of been out of coaching for a little bit, and we said that we need a little bit of help with our girls program, and he jumped in there, and he told me, after a few weeks of year one, he's like, man, I love this. I love it. And he's just been a really good guy to have around.
Well, I appreciate you coming up here and sitting in with me. And we ran into Coach Abbott down there on the floor, and he's going to make his way up here and spend some time on the air with me. I really appreciate this. It helps get this program going here, and helps us put the more better broadcasts out there. So I asked your table guy down there, a PA announcer, to announce that this is being carried on WZBD YouTube channel, and people can tune in and listen to it. So I appreciate your time.
Yep, thank you. Thanks for having us on. We really appreciate you guys broadcasting this.
That's been Coach Eric Myers of the Jay County Patriots. As his wrestler at 120 pounds has used some injury time, as Elizabeth Wendell was injured. Looks like she might have hurt her ribs a little bit as he got cranked in a nice headlock there by Courtney Thrash. As we're still trying to fix something here, as Tyrone Wilson is on the bench. As they get that fixed, I'm going to take this opportunity right here and play this.
The Jay County Wrestling Club is a great place for your son or daughter to learn the great sport of wrestling. Our club does a great job of developing youngsters into better athletes using gymnastics, wrestling technique, and strength training. If interested, check out our Facebook page for practice details and to stop in.
Welcome back to Jay County High School. Rex Brewer running solo today on the WZBD YouTube channel. And it's a great place to go check out past matches. There has been a lot of events already that have been posted up on that site, and you can go there and check them all out. And It gives us opportunity to see how many people are actually tracking and going back and listening to these broadcasts. And these broadcasts are brought to you by fine sponsors, just like the regular radio programs with things need to be paid. And we're glad that these sponsors have stepped up to cover this action here. Courtney Thrash of Muncie Central has a 2-0 lead as she hit that headlock. Did not get any near fall before they went out of bounds. As Elizabeth Wendell of Jay County is in the bottom position. Going to try and reverse out there, but Thrash is able to counter that. Now Thrash is going to run a half Nelson and a chicken wing on the far side. And Wendell's ribs have been injured again. She's going to start the injury time. She'll have this her second time for injury time. Thrash did not get any near fall points as Tyrone Wilson called the injury time prior to her being turned over. And I think Miss Wendell has been injured enough that they're just going to use the rest of her injury time, and she's going to injury default out of this. So your winner is going to be Thrash of Muncie Central as they shake hands and take ankle bands off. Thrash has been declared a winner by injury default, as it looks like Elizabeth Wendell has a rib injury. Let's see if we can go over here and do a little updates here. Let's look and see how the Belmont boys are doing up at Mishawaka, just for my own edification here. Let's see who is still in it. I know that there's some matches being wrestled this morning here. I know that Palacios at 175 had a consolation match. He's going to wrestle against Levitz of Prairie Heights. That match has not taken place yet. Back to live action here at Jay County High School. Jay County's Willow Hardy. Willow is a senior. She's 16-10 in the season, and she's wrestling against Reagan Quattlebaum, a freshman from Rose Central who's 2-1. This match is at 125 pounds. Hardy with a shot. Now she gets caught out front in a bulldog as her opponent from Muncie Central catches that arm, sends her to her back. She's cranking on that half Nelson. Good position here. She's got about 1:14 left to go here in period number 1. As Quattlebaum, the freshman, gets the fall on Hardy. And that will advance Quattlebaum into the finals here at 120 pounds. Tyrone Wilson, the official on the mat, gives the fall call there. I'd like to thank Coach Myers for making his way up here and helping us out on the broadcast. And if Dane Filling's listening, we need to work on a nickname for Coach Myers so we can distinguish him. You know, Gary Myers is the Iron Bear. Maybe we can call Eric Myers the Little Bear. Don't know. He's got a nice beard. That's going to bring up our next match at 130 pounds. It's Sarah Yoho. She's from Blackford. And she's wrestling against Naomi Galen. She's a sophomore from Muncie Central, 11-16. And we're underway here at 130 pounds. I do see Coach Abbott down the way there. Let's see if I can get his attention and come up and put him on the air here. Both wrestlers trying to feel their way out here. They work into a collar tie situation here. As Galen from Muncie Central, the aggressor here, works on his collar tie. See a lot of girls hitting headlocks here. As, it's one of the easier takedown moves it is to teach, and a good pin. As Galen trying to work her way on the inside tie position, trying to lock up a headlock, but Yoho backs out of that, Doesn't give anything to her. Both wrestlers working towards the edge of the mat. As Galen tries to snap the head of her opponent down. Not yet been effective. Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to the YouTube channel. This has been a great outlet for WZBD to allow us to carry multiple sports throughout the day. At multiple sports at the same time. Allow us the ability to go back and record those and put them out there. Opposite side headlock attempted there by Galen. It's countered there by Yoho. 20 seconds left to go in this first period. Both wrestlers still working on that collar tie situation. Not a lot of action here in this first round. Both these wrestlers, Muncie Central wrestler, 11-16, so she's got 27 matches on the season. Flip of the disc goes to green. That is Galen. She defers her choice, and she looks over to Coach Bradley in the corner. Yo-Ho from Blackford, her choice, and she takes a neutral position. So it looks like we may see another 2 minutes of collar tie hand fighting. There's a shot by Yoho, counter by Galen. Galen trying to work her way inside for a headlock, and now get headlocked herself. Yoho out in front in a front headlock situation. Yoho didn't do anything with that collar tie situation. Now she flips over the top as Galen spins up around, did a little WWF move and flipped her over the top, and Galen comes up with a takedown there. She leads this thing 2-0. Galen runs a wrist and a half. She's got that far wrist and a half. She's just going to power over, has her on her shoulder, and Galen does a good job, gets her chest down underneath the other wrestler's chest and powers her over. Your winner by fall is Naomi Galen of Muncie Central with a quick fall there early in the second period. As that was a 0-0 match for that. I think that's going to bring up Emily Maynard here from Jay County. That match was at 130 pounds. It's going to be Jay County versus Muncie Central in this match. As soon as track comes up, I will confirm that it is Emily Maynard. No, I think it might be Leo Lingo. Yep, Lena Lingo. Junior, she's 19-8 on the season. She's wrestling against Erica Jones of Muncie Central. Jones is a senior. She's 11-13. They're in a collar tie as Jones is working an inside position. Trying to work her way inside, and Lingo drops down for a single leg, doesn't penetrate, comes back up with it. Working with some hand control, both wrestlers. Jones working for the inside tie. Jones takes a shot, and Lingo counters that, goes around behind, gets a 2-point takedown to start things off. Lingo in a rear standing position. Wrist control, trying to work to take her opponent down to the mat. Lingo brings her back down to the mat. Jones up quickly to her feet. There's a stalling warning. Lingo trying to break her back down to the mat. Lingo's just going to cut her loose. Turns her back on her. Jones comes in to attack. Jones in on a nice single leg now. Lingo's run a crossface here. 45 seconds left to go. And, Jones is going to be called for technical violation for grasping of the clothing. So that's going to make the score 3-1. As Leah Lingo wearing a red ankle band. She's guests on the scoreboard. Working for some inside collar position here. 24 seconds left to go in this first period. Duck under to a single leg attempted by Jones. She's in on leg tight. But Lingo does a good job of sprawling out, spins and goes behind. Lingo with a nice go behind, gets the takedown. She turns her opponent over, has her on her back. She caught her for some near fall here with just 6 seconds left to go. She gets a 2 count. So Lingo from Jay County is going to take a 7-1 lead into the next period. No, that was just her takedown. They didn't give her a 2 near fall. And she's got a 2 near fall coming. Should be 7-1. Lingo chooses top position. How to put Jones in down position. There her 2 points go up. 7-1 is the score for Lingo. She's going to climb on Ryder from the left side. Changes over. Locks up the arm. Going to try and hit a little tilt. Her opponent's trying to hit an inside roll, taking herself right to her back. Lingo still in the top position here. Lingo just powers a half in, and she caught her opponent's arm up in the air. Lingo's going to spread out here. Lingo's got good position here, lifts up on the head. The inside shoulder working its way down. Lots of time on the clock here, 1:39 left to go. Lingo trying to put pressure on the outside shoulder. There's the fall. You're on a by fall with Leah Lingo. Going to take 2 minutes and 29 seconds for that fall time. And she advances here at 135 pounds. Let's look at some team results here and see what the team scores are. Right now, Jay County has crept into the lead. They now have a 34-25 lead over Blackford. In second place, West Dell with 16, Monroe Central with 15, Muncie Central with 15, and Cowan with 14. That rounds out the top 6 positions. And now, that brings up Jay County, another wrestler in the final in the bracket here. Emily Maynard, 140 pounds. She's a junior. They were listed 19-1. Coach Myers thought she was undefeated on the season, but she's wrestling against Liera Rollins, a freshman from Muncie Central, who's 10-10 on the season. So Maynard, who's a junior, wrestling against the freshman from Muncie Central. Maynard trying to work on some collar tie situation here. Drops down to a single leg. Their opponent steps out of bounds, so she drags her back in bounds. Maynard works for a far side single. Changes off to a double. Got her head stuck underneath there. She can pop her head out. She's going to have a takedown here. She's in her rear position. Now she pops the head out. So Maynard gets a takedown. Rollins trying to stand up, but Maynard catches a far side wrist and a half. Lost to half Nelson. She's going to run a double wrist roll. And we've seen Mallory Winter run this a lot. She just grabs double wrist roll and just keeps running until her opponent goes to her back. She's turned her opponent. So Rollins is fighting off the bottom position here. Now she's end up out in a double trouble. She's got ends up like a double chicken wing. She's got Rollins on her back with 30 seconds left to go here. Rollins in a nice high bridge. Not in danger of being pinned at this time. Rollins is going to sneak her arm out, try and come up around behind, as Maynard's going to score 3 near fall on it. But Rollins gets a reversal out of it. So 5-2 is going to be the score here. As Rollins has gained a reversal, has not been awarded yet. 5-2 is going to be a score as we go into period at number 2. Emily Maynard with her choice. She takes top position. Climbs on, rides Rollins from the right side. Rollins tries to sit out, turn in. Maynard caught her in a chin drop. Try to pull her back into the near fall situation. Rollins able to sit out. Does not give up any back points here. Now, Maynard just has a chicken wing in. Try to run that chicken wing over. As I went and borrowed some legs from somebody, see if they go get Coach Abbott up here for me. As Emily Maynard turns her opponent in a nice cradle, has the inside shoulder down. There's the fall. Emily Maynard gets the fall as she advances here at 140 pounds. And that's going to bring up our next two wrestlers. Another wrestler from Jay County, along with a wrestler from Blackford that we saw win her first round. Flores from Blackford, who we saw win earlier in this round, or earlier in the first round. My good buddy, Coach Abbott, on his way up here. This brings up Malia Parsons of Jay County and Addison Flores of Blackford. My good friend Tony Abbott checking his phone, checking Track Wrestling to see how some wrestlers are doing. I've got it up here too, Tony. I got it on the big screen. You put your headset on. Tell me what you want to see. We'll go look at that.
Can you hear me there?
I can hear you.
All
Coach
right.
Abbott's wrestler Emma Jones had a great match earlier in the round, and she remains undefeated on the season. She seems to be one of the favorites in her weight class here today.
Yeah, she's wrestled pretty good. You know, I think that makes her 18-0. Got quite a few falls this year. She's one of the only girls that I've seen today that's really running the legs. She runs the legs pretty well.
She threw both boots in and cranked a power half and scored some near fall points earlier, and that's something that you don't see a lot of girls doing. So a lot of girls don't counter them very well.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, and she's pretty powerful on the neck and head. So it gets those girls to, you know, gives them a little effective persuasion to turn over.
So where have you taken her this year to get some good quality matches that keep her up high ranked? I think she's ranked 3rd or 4th in her weight class.
She's made a weight drop from last year, so she's kind of getting lean down and stronger. Her dad is the women's coach per se, but she's been to 11, and she's been, you know, she finds the tournaments where most of the girls are going. So. You know, in wrestles, I don't know that she's had too many really close matches this year, to be honest with you.
You know, and that's the thing. I've noticed Coach Myers from Jay County is up here. He's got a couple of girls that have really changed their style, and they've dedicated themselves, cut a couple of weight classes, and really leaned out. And they look more physical this year than last year. And not that they look a little more cut this year, hit the weight room, and they've kind of dedicated this to make not just being something they're going to do for fun, but this is a real sport dedication for them.
Yeah. There's a girl I just watched earlier that she was pretty much a specimen for a girl out there. You know, I don't know how much weight they're losing or whatever, but like I said, you know, when you start training every day, a couple hours a day, it's kind of like the old commercial P90X. I mean, the weight's going to fall off, you know.
Yeah.
So you know, I mean, you know, you get a girl that's not, you know, that's not normally just kind of laying around, not doing much, and then you start putting a couple-hour workout in a day. They're going to lean down and you know, gain some muscle from the body-to-body movement, you know. So.
And you know that wrestling is one of the sports that just the physicality of it and the nature of it is going to. Even if you don't lift weights, you're going to become physically stronger just from the exercise and from the training drills.
The push-pull, the resistance from the other body and all that stuff. Yeah, it's there's a lot of, you know, kids that plays football or whatever that you know they gain a lot of muscle and stuff just from wrestling practice without lifting weights. Of course, we all want to lift weights nowadays, but you know, you start seeing their bodies change. You know, from the everyday practices. We got a couple kids that we had join the Cowan High School boys team, and they were pretty soft when they started. You know, as 8th grader. I mean, really soft. And now you start looking at them like, man, he's got some pretty big arms.
You know, some of those kids, you see them grow and they mature. And I mean, some of those kids, everybody matures at different ages, but you see some of those kids that start to mature and they go from boys to become men, and you really see that testosterone go into that muscle, and those kids really start to lean out and become men.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how fast it grows and how fast time goes, you know. You get these kids, you know, you get them here, and it seems like you get them right where you want them, man, and they're graduating, you know.
I know that what you're doing is you're just getting them ready to go wrestle at West Liberty, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's where your kids are going now.
A lot of guys from here are going up there. So I seen it's probably the Jay County kid that's going to West Liberty, but there's a kid down there with a West Lib shirt on, so probably is Tony Wood down there.
Yeah. I tell you what, your Cowan Blackhawks are typically the bright yellow, like your sweatshirt you have on in black. Who was the one that let them make the color change for Emma Jones to go to the bright fuchsia and black? Because that's a pretty cool singlet.
Yeah, it is. It's I think it's just a little bit of the feminine side, you know. So. Just to be a little different, you know, it is some nice stuff she's got.
And I did notice that there was not as much heavy metal playing, but a lot more Katy Perry music playing in today before they come on. And it's a different vibe, but I tell you what, when you get to the state finals, and if you've never been to the state finals, I mean, Kokomo is a great place to go, and as girls come in, you see some high-quality, top-caliber wrestling for girls, not just in the state of Indiana, but for the nation. Some of these girls wrestle all over the country and are just elite wrestlers, period.
Yeah, we have quite a few girls ranked nationally. I mean, I'm more than a handful, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think so. Yeah. So the wrestling has, you know, the first year they had the girls wrestling. We had a girl, Cricket Morey. She was our 6-pounder back when we first started the Cowan team, and she went there and wrestled in the girls' state. And you know, that's been 5 years ago, something like that. I'm just guessing, but then last year I went, and man, the wrestling has gotten a lot better.
Yeah. At
the girls' level, it's gotten a lot better. So you always look forward to, you know, for it to grow. But man, it's amazing how much more technical the girls have gotten in the last 3 or 4 years.
Right now, this is kind of a dogfight here between Flores and Parsons. Parsons with an 11-3 lead right now, but they've been back and forth all over each other. There's about a minute left to go in that match. And Tony, I talked to Coach Eric Myers, who's up here, about how he separates his team. I mean, he has a pretty big squad of girls, and he's able to have like a separate girls coaching staff and a boys coaching staff, and he actually has a split wrestling room. As Flores hits a headlock, and she has Parsons on her back, she got 48 seconds to get the fall. Parsons just got pinned. Parsons was up 11-6, and Flores comes back with a headlock, and you always know that the headlock is the great equalizer. And back in the day, you remember the guy from Westdale, Bobby Jones, the headlock king from Westdale, as
Bobby Johnson.
Bobby Johnson,
yeah.
Bobby Johnson, the headlock king, and the headlock is the great equalizer. Doesn't matter what the score is, you get caught in a headlock. Even good kids get pinned in headlocks.
That's right. Yep, that's why you stay in that match. You know, it's as long as there's time on the clock, the winner can change.
There's still life in that body.
Yep.
But tell me what your Cowan's boys team are they off this weekend then?
Yeah, we're off. But our next match is it's kind of bad because we got a Thursday Delaware County meet, which is, you know, it's a pretty tough, brutal meet with Delta and you know, Yorktown and Westdale. I mean, there's some decent kids in there, and then Saturday we have Team State. So 2 years ago, man, it was a bad deal. We had a couple guys go down in the Delaware County meet. Well, I mean, with season-ending injuries, and you know, being 2 days before the Team State, it really put us in a pickle. I mean, because you know, we're 1A school, we don't have a lot of backups, and if we do, you know, they're usually not the quality of the first guy. So just in about 15 minutes of that Delaware County tournament, 2 guys go down, and so did our hopes to be in, a contender to 1A state that year.
You are invited to the 1A state this year over at Rochester,
Yep.
and it looked like you're in a good position to do well in that. And I know that you will be tuned in on January 1st to listen to the Haggard-Hershey-Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly to see how the placements go as all those coaches. There'll be a lot of watch parties out there for that night, and that's probably one of our biggest nights. And we have Joe Caprino sits in and runs Facebook Live on his Indiana mat, so you can see the bracket reveal. And it's a really fun time, and it's a good show. But there's a lot of work goes into that, those teams are getting seeded for that tournament.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you what, the 1A and I can only really speak of the 1A. I mean, a little bit maybe about the 2A, but I'm not focused on the 2A stuff, especially when it comes to that. But the 1A, man, it's so matchup. I mean, it's crazy because it's okay that some of these teams have really good heavyweight. My heavyweight, we've lost there a couple times. I mean, we look to keep it close. So it's such a matchup thing about in the 1A. I mean, just because one team loses to another team doesn't mean the other team can win. I mean, it's kind of a crazy thing. But
well, no, you guys wrestled against South Adams, and South Adams made their bid in there, and they showed that they're a real contender, and they deserve to be in that 1A. And then you've got Adams Central comes right out of football season, and they took Belmont to the wire the other night. And it's my personal feeling that if Keegan Bloom and Zach Worm wrestle that match, Bloom may not beat Martin, but he doesn't get pinned, and Worm most likely pins Grady Baker. I mean, that match is tied 35-35 with 7 wins apiece, and you start down the criteria. I mean, that's the coin toss.
Yeah, like I said, it's such a matchup thing. I mean, it's wrestling. That's the fun part about it. I mean, back in the day when I wrestled at Muncie South, and we would go to Belmont, it seemed like I always said that Belmont really never had an easy out. There was. I mean, and our lineup was the same. I mean, even our guys that weren't great, man, they could wrestle, and they get into a battle. I mean, so and nowadays it seems like they're either great, and I don't want to be mean, but it's not kind of like duds and studs, man. You know what I mean? So you just hope that you got more studs than you got duds in that day, but.
You got you guys that are studs, and then you got to have your 70%ers. You got to have that guy that's going to be your 70%er. He's going to win 70% of his matches, and that's like anything. It's like everybody's got a role. Look, you're wrestling number 4 ranked kid in the state, and you're nowhere in it close. Here's your role.
Yeah.
You don't get pinned. You don't get tech fauled. That's your job because that 1 or 2 points comes down to the line. And a lot of those matches at team state are going to be 1 and 2 point dual meet matches.
Well, like he's talking about not Delta, but Belmont and. Adams Central. I mean, you're talking about a 35-35 possibility outcome. That technical fall is more meaningful, than the pin. I mean, if you defensively there. So
a guy gets mad and throws his headgear and costs you a team point. Oh, yeah. That's number 1 criteria.
Yeah.
Points deducted. Boom.
Pulls the strap down before it gets off the circle.
Yeah.
Those little mental mistakes. That makes it tough.
Well, I appreciate you coming up here and sitting and talking with me. I mean, I want to watch your undefeated wrestler here today, as I thought she looked really, really well in her match, and I wish you luck in a team state. And so tune in to Haggard-Hershey-Zelt on January 1st as Dane and I. That show comes live from Rex Brewer's basement.
Is that where you're doing it?
Yeah, the Double Eagle is not open on that day. So
boy.
I reminded my wife the other day, said, oh, by the way, I got a wrestling show here. And she goes, what? I think I told her before. I don't know if I did or not, but I may or may not have told her.
I think I seen your house. When is in the golf course, right?
Yeah.
Close. Yeah. So I played golf in a Belmont tournament a few years ago. And riding with Dane in the golf cart and going through because we had to go through and he's like, there's where Rex lives, there's where BJ lives. I'm like, man, you guys all live right here? But it was pretty neat.
I tell you what, Coach, thanks for coming up, and I wish you good luck. And that 1A team state, I mean, there's a lot of good matchups in the different classes for 3 and 4A. 2's going to be a dogfight. I think one's going to be just a coin toss, and I think Adams Central comes in ranked number 1. But I mean, there's a lot of guys that are right there with them.
Oh yeah. West Central just beat Rochester. I mean, what's where'd they come from? I mean, I thought Rochester would be one of the top dogs there, but it was the matchup. It was the matchup that happened. This kid out, that kid out. Just hope everybody's healthy and I think everybody tries to peak for that tournament to make sure everybody's back and at the right weights. But
Well, I tell you what, I appreciate you coming up, spend your time with us, and go coach this girl to a regional championship.
all right, that sounds great. We'll see you, Rex.
That's been Coach Tony Abbott of the Cowan Blackhawks. And just now on the mat was Southern Wells' Danica Sorensen of Southern Wells, and she was wrestling against Amaya Stoudemire from Muncie Central. And Stoudemire is your winner by fall. She had a 7-0 lead, and that match was at 155 pounds. I think that was a consolation. Yep, that's a consolation semifinals to see who's going to come wrestle back. These are some consolation semifinals matches here. And as always, I need to make sure that our sponsors get all of their due. So with that, I'm going to play a few commercials here. And back with more wrestling right here on WZBD YouTube channel on, I almost said 92.7, but it's WZBD YouTube channel here on YouTube Radio.
The Fort Wrestling Facility at 1519 Goshen Road in Fort Wayne is building young wrestlers all across the Fort Wayne area, one practice at a time. Join us for a live practice session or one of our upcoming camps at the Fort Wrestling Facility. Just check out our website today at thefortwrestling.com. Open to wrestlers 5 years old through high school, don't miss the chance to train with wrestlers from all over the area, focusing on technique, conditioning, and learning how to love the sport of wrestling. The Fort Wrestling Facility, building wrestlers in the Fort.
Indiana Girls Wrestling is a non-profit organization that promotes female wrestling in the state of Indiana. Our purposes are to be a public advocate for females participating in the sport of wrestling, to provide competition and training opportunities so that female participation in the sport of wrestling can grow within the state of Indiana, and sponsors an all-star team named the Indiana Inferno for regional and national competition. IGW hosts the USA Girls Midwest Nationals in early October of every year, and over the past 7 years has grown to be one of the largest all-girls dual and individual open tournaments in the country. This year, the duels had 30 teams from across the country, with 5 from Indiana, and over 500 girls competing in the individual open. So be on the lookout for more all-girls tournaments sponsored by Indiana Girls Wrestling in the near future. For more information, you can go to indianagirlswrestling.com or check them out on Instagram or Facebook under Indiana Girls Wrestling.
Welcome back to live action here as we've made our way through those consolation rounds, and now we're back to championship bracket. We're starting at the bottom at 100 pounds here, as this is Katie Rowles of Jay County, and she's wrestling against Madison Henderson of Blackford. Rowles 25-4, Henderson at 16-6, as they're in a tough battle here as Rowles comes in and gets the takedown with about 1:14 left to go here in period number 1. She's riding a leg, and got her head caught here. Henderson's got a hold of her head. If Rowles just leans back, she can turn that into guillotine. She decides to take that off. Going to ride that one leg in, ride her on the left side. Comes off the leg, gets off to the side, going around a half Nelson. Henderson keeps going on. Rowles takes her right to her back, jacks that inside ankle up, and turns her to her back. She's getting near fall points now. Henderson trying to work her way off, but Rowles catches that arm bar, runs her back to her back. She's got 35 seconds to put her away here. Rowles trying to stay in good position here, keeping that arm locked up. Needs to get a nice tight half Nelson in there. Now she goes to a reverse half. There she goes, locks that up tight. Cranks that back. There's the fall. Katie Rowles at 100 advances. Let's look at that bracket and see who all is in that bracket. See how that bracket was laid out. So that was Rowles versus Henderson. Are we into round 3? This could be the championship round. This could be the finals here going. Too early. It's only 10:30. We'll see here. Let's look at the next bracket here. This is 105 pounders on the mat. This is Dawson of Westdale wrestling right now. She is wrestling a Jay County wrestler. This is Sophia Thomas, the freshman from Jay County. This is round 3. This is a championship round. This is Kinley Kiefer from Daleville. She's a 14-1, and she's wrestling against Thomas, and she throws in a power half, puts her right to her back. Getting some near fall points here is Tyrone Wilson down looking for the fall. She changes off, takes that bundle and gets a pin. Your winner by pin at 105 pounds is Kinley Kiefer from Daleville. And that will bring up Coach Tony Abbott's wrestler, Emma Jones. Kiefer, your winner here at 105 pounds. It's going to be Cowan versus Blackford in the finals here. Jones wearing the black and fuchsia uniform for the Cowan Blackhawks ladies. Let's see, this track goes up here as Jones in on a single leg, got her head caught on the outside, changes off to double, goes Barzagar, takes her right down to the mat. Good technique, and she locks the leg in for the Turk, catches the head. Nice leg extension on the Turk, high lift on the facelift. Shania Gentili from Blackford is her opponent. Jones comes in, locks up both arms. There's the fall. Jones remains undefeated on the season. She goes to 19-0 now, and she's your champion here at 115 pounds. Good match by Jones, her quick fall under a minute. She is your winner here at 115. Now we're going to run the third place match here. So you're going back and forth between championship and consolation rounds. I want to make sure I get my commercials there. I'm going to play one more commercial here. I'm back with more final consolations right after this on WZBD YouTube channel.
At Jackson Associates Financial Services in Portland, we are committed to maintaining the highest standards of integrity and professionalism in our relationship with you, our client. We endeavor to know and understand your financial situation and provide you with only the highest quality information, services, and products to help you reach your goals. Give Troy a call for the latest rates on CDs and learn about the advantages in today's financial climate to invest in your hard-earned dollar. That's Jackson Associates in Portland.
Welcome back to live action here. I'd like to thank our sponsors that allow us to bring you girls regional wrestling action here from Jay County High School. Let's see, is this a championship match here? Make our way to 120 here. This will be Callie Yates from Jay County. As she's wrestling against Courtney Thrash of Muncie Central. This match is 120 pounds. Let's see, it doesn't say if this is a consolation round match, but Yates gets a takedown with a headlock. Now she's just going to run up a double wrist roll. Now she drops off and goes a far wrist and a half Nelson. Trying to run her opponent over with that. Thrash is able to defend that. Minute 28 left to go here in period number 1. Thrash trying to get a reversal here. She's reversed and has Yates on her back, working for some back points. Out of bounds as Thrash keeps 2 legs in, but eventually works her way out. She's going to pick up 3 near fall here. So Yates of Jay County will be trailing here now 5-2. Thrash in top position. Hits a tight waist and just drags Yates over to her hip. Now she's going to run a chicken wing. That chicken wing is illegal, as chicken wing is straight forward. It's illegal. That's not potentially dangerous, that's illegal. Potentially dangerous is called, as that was a straight chicken wing right straight up over the top of the shoulder. Whistle blows as Thrash drags Yates over on her hip. Yates going to try a big man stand up. Now she just high legs over and catches her. She's going to pick up a 1-point locked hands. Yates has hit a cradle here. Yates going to get the locked hands. She's also going to get the reversal. Now she's going to take and run that arm. Now she goes back to double wrist roll. So that should make the score 5-5 as she got the penalty point plus the locked hands. We are tied at 5 here. Illegal hold by Yates. Give 1 point to Thrash. This will make the score 6-5 now. Let's see if this is a championship bracket. Cool. This is a 120-pound match. Thrash and Yates, this is a championship match. As Thrash gets a 2-point reversal. She's going to take an 8-5 lead now. She's trying to just drag her over, and Yates just hits another high leg over. She's going to get a 2-point reversal here and 2 near fall. So Yates is going to go back up on top. 9-8 is the score now. This match is in the second period. Yates is hitting a half Nelson. Now she jumps across, hits a half Nelson. Thrash is able to counter that. Yates going to try and power her over. Jacks up outside ankle. Minute to go here in period number 2. Yates trying to run that power half. Thrash kind of trying to come up with an outside leg stand up. Jumps off to the side as Thrash has that shoulder on the mat. Yates trying to power over. She spins her around. Can't get her turn. Good job of Thrash of fighting off that half Nelson. Now she has turned her. Yates has Thrash on her back. Officials counting near fall. She got a 2 count for sure. He restarts his count. She's going to pick up 2. That's going to go 11-8 here. Give her a 3-point lead in this match. Yates comes up, puts pressure on that shoulder. Looking for the fall, trying to get the outside shoulder down. 1 second. Coach Jacks comes to his feet. Excited, nearly got the fall there. She's going to pick up 3 near fall. She's going to go into the third period with an 11-8 lead. It's going to be Thrash's choice. She takes top position. She's been reversed by Yates twice here. Her breakdown is just a tight waist, trying to pull her over the top, and Yates has hit a high leg over twice now. As Thrash trying to pull her down, and Yates just steps over the top. And Thrash once again try to pull over, and Yates turns into her, catches her on her back. She's going to get the 2 reversal. She sinks a half Nelson in. Yates now with a 14-8 lead, and she's going to pick up another 3 near fall here. She's going to get the fall here. That looks tight. There's the fall. Your 120-pound champion, Jay County, is going to be Callie Yates, the 10th grader from Jay County. She gets the win by fall over Courtney Thrash. Let's go back and let's see some who's leading the team score right now. With that win, Jay County's points will go into that, but right now Jay County already on top, 52 to Blackford's 34. Muncie Central with 24. Monroe Central with 22. Cowan with 20. Let's go back here and let's see who will be coming up here at this next championship bracket. I think this will be a consolation match. It's going to be Malia Parsons. Parsons was leading in her match, was defeated by fall. But see if Cadence Jones reports or not. Parsons may have got a forfeit.
We're going to skip that match. We have a couple more minutes before we get started. So the next one we're going to go to is at 170. Paisley Chambers from Westdale versus Sophia Gropp from Westdale.
They had to do some switching around here because they had some wrestlers that had some wait times that they. So they had to move some matches around here because they were running into time problems. As they knew they would do that, have some problems with that. With so fewer wrestlers, they have run into time situations. They have Paisley Chambers and Sophia Gropp. Will be the next matchup. That's Westdale versus Westdale. And this is a first place match here at 170 pounds. We skipped a couple of weight classes there just for time considerations. So this is Westdale versus Westdale for the championship here. Both wrestlers locked up an over and under throw. I think somebody's going to get tossed here. Once again, this is a championship match here at 170 pounds. And for those of you not familiar with the weight classes, they are 100, 105, 110, 115, 120, 125, 130, 35, 40, 45, 70, 90, 235 heavyweight. And that match, wrestling at 170 here for the championship. Takedown was gained by Green. That is Paisley Chambers. She has a 2-0 lead on her teammate Sophia Gropp. She's kind of trying to run a crossface here. Dump her opponent over on her back. Reach back, grabs that inside ankle and jacks it up. Has her over on her hip now. She's gonna maybe lock up a side cradle. Tries to spin and go behind. As she reaches back, grabs that arm. She's going to try and lock up that cradle. She has her opponent on her back. This Gropp has hold of her leg, and she just needs to let go of her leg, but he got a 1 count out of it. Did not get any near fall points out of that. Flip the disc. Goes to red, defers. Green's choice, that is Chambers. Chambers' coach says take neutral. So this championship match at 170 starts from their feet. Chambers with a 2-0 lead here. Two teammates going at it. Once again, this is girls regional action from Jay County High School. The semi-state for this area will be next week on Friday night. And that will be from Rochester High School. Dane Filling will have that action, as he'll already be at Rochester for the 1A team state. Nice inside trip there by Chambers. She comes up, goes right to the headlock. See if he can keep Gropp on her back. Chambers is doing a good job of changing position, keeping that near fall situation. Chambers keeps that far arm. Keeps her in a near fall situation. She's earned 3, has not been awarded. Now her 3 has been awarded. That's going to make the score 7-0 for Chambers. This is in the second period here. We're at 170 pounds. Once again, next Friday, that will be Dane Filling covering the girls semi-state. He'll be over there for the team state the following day. This 1A team state is there. I will be back here at Jay County for the 2A team state tournament. And we will go back and forth. Have not yet decided who will be what. One will most likely be on YouTube. One will most likely be on 92.7. But we will go back and forth. We'll figure that out, and I'm certain that Dane will make sure it's widely publicized. And there's a penalty point by Chambers in the top for locking her hands. So that's going to give Gropp her first point of this match. 7-1's our score, as Gropp needs to take some injury time. As she takes some injury time, I'll take this opportunity to get a commercial in here. Back with more wrestling from Jay County High School on WZBD YouTube channel.
The Jay County Wrestling Club is a great place for your son or daughter to learn the great sport of wrestling. Our club does a great job of developing youngsters into better athletes using gymnastics, wrestling technique, and strength training. If interested, check out our Facebook page for practice details and to stop in.
Welcome back to Jay County, as Sophia Gropp has ended her injury time. She is going to take top position. She's going to put Paisley Chambers in a down position. Chambers from Westdale, just a freshman. She's 19-2 on the season. Gropp, also a freshman. She's 17-4. So these teammates from Westdale at 170 doing a fine job here representing their school. As they both made the finals here at 170. These two are pretty evenly matched here. I imagine their wrestle-offs are pretty close as well. Chambers with a 7-1 lead right now. Gropp hits a Granby and comes up out of it. I'm sorry, Chambers with a nice Granby comes up, gets a reversal. She can't catch the arm and get the back points out of it, but she's going to take a 9-1 lead here over her teammate Gropp. As Chambers going to cut Gropp loose, give her the escape. They're up on her feet, neutral now. A minute to go here in this final match, or this final match at 170 pounds. They had to do some skipping around. We skipped quite a few weight classes because some of these girls had more people in their weight classes. Gropp trying to hit a headlock, and Chambers ducks under that headlock. Does a little go behind and gets the takedown. So she's going to take an 11-2 lead here. About 30 seconds left to go in this championship bout at 170 pounds. Not quite sure where they're going to jump to. After this match, see if they're going to go back down one of the lower weights and pick up some. Or they may have to take a short break here just to let them catch up on the times. We'll see how that goes. So there's the last final seconds in the bout at 170 pounds. Your champion is going to be Paisley Chambers of Westdale over her teammate Sophia Gropp of Westdale. With that, I'm going to play a commercial here. Back with more wrestling on WZBD YouTube channel.
The Fort Wrestling Facility at 1519 Goshen Road in Fort Wayne is building young wrestlers all across the Fort Wayne area, one practice at a time. Join us for a live practice session or one of our upcoming camps at the Fort Wrestling Facility. Just check out our website today at thefortwrestling.com. Open to wrestlers 5 years old through high school, don't miss the chance to train with wrestlers from all over the area, focusing on technique, conditioning, and learning how to love the sport of wrestling. The Fort Wrestling Facility, building wrestlers in the Fort.
Welcome back to Jay County as we have a third place match here at 170 pounds as we did the championship match at 170. This is Tessa Miller from Jay County. She's a senior, 15-5 on the season. And she's wrestling against Jocelyn Sutton, who's a 10th grader. She is 4-15 on the season. This is a consolation match. And I believe that like all semi-state or all regionals for the boys, top 4 placers will advance to next week's semi-state. And these girls will advance to Rochester, I believe. There's 16 regionals in the state. And just like the boys, they'll feed into 4 semi-states. As these two wrestle here for a consolation match. See if I get over here, I might check something out. Check in and see how the Belmont team is doing at Mishawaka. And the match I was concerned with is Xavier Palacios was a 6-4 decision win over Levitz as he advances. And he's got one more match to make it to the 3rd and 4th place round. Good job, Xavier. Interesting match is at 165 as Duke Myers wrestled Anthony Reinhardt, #1 ranked wrestler in the state today. And that was first round, and Myers was defeated 5-0. And let's go see how Cole Mendez did. Mendez was defeated by fall by Panola, #1 seed in that tournament in 53 seconds. So he will go into the console match at 2:15. Keegan Martin has not yet wrestled Kendricks from Mount Vernon. But that is how the Belmont boys are doing as we make our way back to the girls regional here from Jay County. It's Jocelyn Sutton from Muncie Central tied up 2-2 with Tessa Miller from Jay County. This is the 3rd and 4th place match. Both wrestlers on their feet, neutral, wrestling from a collar tie. A little snap down attempted by Miller. Sutton's able to counter that. Both wrestlers working for some inside collar position. A lot of pushing and pulling here. Once again, for you wanting to keep up on how other wrestling is going in the area, tune into the WZBD website. There's a lot of great articles that Dane had this week on wrestling. for both the Adams Central Jets in their tournament. They wrestled in the Wiley Duels over in Lafayette. And now he has day 2 a live blog for on WZBD. He had the opening round information there. Didn't have his updates in yet, but I was on Track Wrestling. I saw those 2 matches that have taken place already this morning. We're in the 3rd period here, that 3rd and 4th place match. Tessa Miller is riding Sutton of Muncie Central in top position. Sutton doing everything she can to come out, and Sutton gets escape. Sutton goes right in on a double leg. Miller trying to sprawl her out, and Sutton takes her out of bounds, but no control. So Sutton's going to take a 3-2 lead over Miller here. This is a consolation match, 3rd and 4th place match at 170 pounds. We're both up neutral. Miller looked like she may have asked for injury time. She doesn't take it. Tyrone Wilson blows the whistle. We're underway here. 1:26 left to go. Miller needs a takedown to go ahead here. Sutton needs a takedown to ice this consolation match. A lot more action here on WZBD later on tonight. It's a basketball game. Mike Maka will take the air with that. That's if I drop some equipment off to him. We're sharing equipment this weekend as Dane's broadcasting from Mishawaka. Sutton just picked up a warning for stalling as Miller was on the attack, and Sutton just backed out of bounds. Coach Bradley in the corner told her, hey, you need to get in there and go and attack. Miller looks like she's favoring a leg. Tyrone says, get your foot on the line here. Come in, there's a little head bump. Miller's on the attack with 37 seconds left to go here. Miller trying to work her way into some kind of a headlock throw here. Jones is backing up, or Sutton's backing up. 24 seconds left to go. Sutton shoots in on a leg. Has that single leg, she's on the attack, she's got it picked up. Tries to break her down, and Sutton gets the takedown. That'll seal the deal here. With just 9 seconds left to go, Jocelyn Sutton of Muncie Central gets the takedown on Tessa Miller, and that's going to wrap it up. 3rd place goes to Jocelyn Sutton of Muncie Central. I'll play another commercial here. Back with more wrestling on WZBD.
Indiana Girls Wrestling is a non-profit organization that promotes female wrestling in the state of Indiana. Our purposes are to be a public advocate for females participating in the sport of wrestling, to provide competition and training opportunities so that female participation in the sport of wrestling can grow within the state of Indiana, and sponsors an all-star team named the Indiana Inferno for regional and national competition. IGW hosts the USA Girls Midwest Nationals in early October of every year, and over the past 7 years has grown to be one of the largest all-girls dual and individual open tournaments in the country. This year, the duels had 30 teams from across the country, with 5 from Indiana, and over 500 girls competing in the individual open. So be on the lookout for more all-girls tournaments sponsored by Indiana Girls Wrestling in the near future. For more information, you can go to indianagirlswrestling.com or check them out on Instagram or Facebook under Indiana Girls Wrestling.
Thank you, Dave Nathan, for that fine commercial for Indiana Girls Wrestling. And now we have a consolation match here for Malia Parsons of Jay County against Cadence Jones of Muncie Central. Parsons was leading in her match and was pinned in her match before. Now this match, Jones of Muncie Central gets a takedown, locks up a cradle on her. Cradle was not really tight, but tight enough to pull her over and get 3 near fall. Parsons has made her way back to her base. That was a wicked crossface thrown by Jones, as Jones has cranked Parsons over to her back again in the cradle. Got her attention with that crossface. Threw that baby from right field. 33 seconds left to go. Jones comes back up. She's going to get 3 near fall for that. That's made score 8-0. Locks up another crossface. Parsons trying to come up to her base, turns and gets a reversal. So Parsons, her turn to run some pinning combinations here. Jones trying to turn out, and Parsons drags her over, ranks her right to her back. Parsons runs a tight spiral. She's going to get 3 near fall. So Parsons had Jones in a pinning situation there, but Jones is able to get out of bounds. Parsons had that arm locked up tight, but couldn't keep her own feet in bounds as they're going to work their way out. 2 seconds left to go here. Scores 8-5 as Parsons has to have her headgear fixed. Coach Bradley, wife of Coach A.J. Bradley, who's the head women's coach here, adjusts the headgear for Cadence Jones. Jones gets that headgear back in position. I delivered a T-shirt to Coach Bradley, as her husband AJ ordered one of the new Hager Hersey Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly T-shirts. He's a proud owner of one of those now. I believe that would be the only one in Delaware County now. A new line of gear, new design for our shirt this year. My daughter Julia Schultz worked that design up for us, and we had a pretty good size order of gear. About 45 pieces of gear went out. Choice goes to Parsons of Jay County. She takes the top position. She trails 8-5, runs a spiral right off the whistle. Tries to break Jones down. She's going to take that spiral ride, trying to run that half. Pop the outside hand. Jones is trying to make her way up to her base. Jones stands up, turns in, grabs a leg, tries to go behind. Goes out of bounds. Tyrone's going to give her one escape, as Jones could not control Parsons in bounds. Jones is going to get a 1-point escape, so they're going to be in our feet neutral here. 9-5 is the score. This, I believe, is a consolation match. Shot by Jones. She's in tough on a double leg. Parsons able to sprawl her out. Keeps her hips back. Jones spins and goes out of bounds. Gets out of that situation. Parsons makes her way back to center. Tyrone blows the whistle. Shot by Parsons. She's in a nice double leg. Trying to drive. She's going to try and back out. Spins and goes behind. She kind of played possum a little bit as Jones thought she was going to spin, and Parsons just did a little sag and went right behind. She had a full Nelson there. Parsons runs too many half Nelsons at one time. One half's good, one half's good, but a hold makes an illegal hold, so technical violation against Parsons. Puts Jones in a down position again. 10-7 is the score here. This match is at 170 pounds. I believe this is a consolation match. Let's see if they have. This is like a wrestle background here. Because some of these weight classes do not have enough people in them, the brackets look really interesting. So let's see. It's Chambers has won for first place, and let's see. This must be, what weight class is that? Forgive me for staggering through this here, but this brackets, they look a lot different since they're not fully loaded up. Dashboard. So that match was 170. That was the third place match between Sutton and Miller. And nope. I don't know what that match was. I'm very honest. But now I know what this match is. This is the championship match at 155 pounds between your two-time defending state champion Mallory winner, junior 17-0, and her teammate Madison Gage from Jay County. She's a freshman. Winner shoots a double leg, puts the head right in the chest, runs her opponent over, quickly comes up, fires in a half and a far side bar, tries to drag her across her hip, uses her leg to try and pop her off her base. Gage doing a good job of staying up on her base. She hasn't been turned yet. Winner's really running that half Nelson tough. He's trying to avoid putting in a full Nelson here. Gage doing a good job of staying on her base, not being turned. 2-0 the score with a minute 16 left to go in period number 1. Winner ranked number 1 in the state at 55 pounds. She's the defending two-time state champion at 170. Winner now runs a far side bar, and there's the pin. She just basically bowled her up into a 3/4 Nelson. And Mallory Winner is a winner by fall. She is your champion here today at 155 pounds. She goes over and shake hands with her coach, her dad, along with Troy Jacks. And let's see what match we have up here next. I believe this is a 5th and 6th place match. Going to be between Southern Wells and Blackford. It's Danica Sorensen from Southern Wells versus Laurel McVickers from Blackford. This is a 5th place match. This 155-pound match was the largest weight class here. There were 6 girls in that weight class. Let's see how that bracket looks. So your winner was Mallory Winner from Jay County. She defeated Gage. And this match is for 5th and 6th place between Sorensen and McVicker. And then we'll have a 3rd and 4th place match between Irwin of Muncie Central and Monroe Central, Stoudemire and Irwin. Coach Eric Myers back into here. Hang on a second. I'm going to take this opportunity to play a commercial here and see if Coach Meyer has something for me. We'll be back with a minute here right after this on WZBD YouTube channel.
At Jackson Associates Financial Services in Portland, we are committed to maintaining the highest standards of integrity and professionalism in our relationship with you, our client. We endeavor to know and understand your financial situation and provide you with only the highest quality information, services, and products to help you reach your goals. Give Troy a call for the latest rates on CDs and learn about the advantages in today's financial climate to invest in your hard-earned dollar. Ask Jackson Associates in Portland.
That is Coach Eric Myers as we're trying to get some logistics set up here for how we're going to do this. He's going to start sending up some champions up here to speak with me, as we will be able to take some snippets out of that and post them onto our WZBD.com website. As this consolation match going on here. I'm going to play another commercial and catch things up. We'll be back with more wrestling in this consolation match for 5th and 6th here on WZBD YouTube channel.
The Jay County Wrestling Club is a great place for your son or daughter to learn the great sport of wrestling. Our club does a great job of developing youngsters into better athletes using gymnastics, wrestling technique, and strength training. If interested, check out our Facebook page for practice details and to stop in.
Welcome back to Jay County. Live wrestling action here, as these 155-pounders are wrestling. This is a 5th and 6th place match, as 155 was the largest weight class here with 6 wrestlers in it. And this is Sorensen from Southern Wells, and she's wrestling against Mick Vickers from Blackford. And Mick Vickers of Blackford had a 6-3 lead, but right at the whistle, Sorensen gains a reversal, and she climbs closer now, and she's tied this thing up at 6-6. Coach Myers is gracious enough to round down some champions, and he's going to start sending some champions up here to let me get some interviews in here. I see him down talking to some of the other coaches. We appreciate Eric helping us out here today. Appreciate Jay County running this regional here. There were 16 regionals that had to be run throughout this state, and Jay County, one of the first ones to step up and say, we'll take a regional, as they do a great job of running tournaments here. I'll be back next week for the team state. This match for 5th and 6th place here. It's kind of a back and forth affair, as McVickers had the lead, and now Sorensen just come back and tied it up. Now McVickers gets another reversal. So we got a few girls on our way up here. See me? We'll get a few of them up here. You gotta put those on. The fans can't hear you if you don't put that on. And I'm joined by Mallory Winter. And Mallory, you're on your way to what you hope to be a 3rd consecutive state championship. This year you've cut down went to 55 and from 70. And is that something you thought that you just had a better chance at 70, or you just leaned out and decided you want to become a little more physical specimen at 55?
I knew that I would look better at 55. I knew that was probably going to be a better road for me.
I know I'd look better at 155 myself, too. That just goes without saying. But
if I was going 70, I would have been giving up some weight. I knew that if I leaned down to 55, I was going to be stronger and I was going to be better for myself there.
Now, right now, you're currently undefeated, ranked number 1 in the state. Who are some of the girls that you looked, since you did drop from a higher weight class down, who are some of those girls look to give you some better matches you get to semi-state next week?
Next week I should draw Kaylee Bussard from New Haven. Grace Hiram's my finals match last year. She'll be in there at semi-state next year, or this next week. And then there's a girl from East Side that's a freshman that's undefeated right now too.
So some competitions. I mean, it's good to drop down a weight class because you felt that you weren't getting as much weight, but you run into some tougher competition. But that's what you want. I mean, to become better, you want to wrestle the better competition. What are some of the tournaments that Coach Myers has sent you guys this year to some of the girls' tournaments you picked up some good experience at?
Finley last weekend was in Ohio. It was a big tournament. There was teams from Arizona. My finals match, I wrestled a girl from Arizona. There's some teams from Washington, Pennsylvania. We got a mix of a little bit of everybody. Some of our girls got their eyes open to see that there's some pretty good competition out there, but I was in my environment and ready to go and got to see some good matches that set me up good for this week and next week.
Well, as a state champion, there's a couple other state champions in the area with the Ocampo girls coming in there that are just elite wrestlers in the country, along with yourself, that go and wrestle some of these big tournaments around the country throughout the summertime. I mean, was there some summer wrestling you did this year to really gain some good experience?
Yeah, so last year I broke my ankle or leg right before school started, so I wasn't really able to do much last fall. So this year I was able to go to the War of the Roses tournament. I got some pretty good competition there. I was able to prepare myself and get the preseason work in that I needed to, and then I went over to camp at Jeff Jordan's in Ohio and was able to be over there for the weekend and pick up some good technique. And
well, it's good to see that the girls' side has picked up some good competition, and they've thrown some extra tournaments in the summertime that make sure that there's opportunities for girls to wrestle and get more experience through the summer. And as this year they said that there was 1,059 girls registered to wrestle today in this regional tournament. Just a few years ago, there was like 300. So you can see what your sport has done over the past 3 seasons to really jump to the point where I believe that you will be sanctioned as a true IHSGW sport next year. And what are your feelings on that?
I think it's great. I mean, I know there's girls out there, especially like the 106-pound weight class, like Ocampos and Crolls, that they still want to wrestle boys, and I think that they should be given the choice. I mean, they fit right in, so I don't think that should be taken away from them, but I definitely feel like it's a step that we need to take in order to keep getting girls to come out. I think once it's a sanctioned sport, girls are going to see that, it's something that the state really cares about and wants to grow.
Now that the fact that you can say that there's a girls' sport and it's sanctioned and there's no more wrestling against boys, do you think that will allow some more of your classmates to come out and wrestle knowing that they won't have to compete against boys?
Yeah, we definitely see that a lot. Like some of the girls that we've even recruited like here this year, the biggest question they ask when they're coming out is, do we have to wrestle boys? And I think if knowing that that's going to be taken away, like it really does help to grow like the sport and get more people to come out. I mean, there's people in the hallways all the time that they tell me that they don't want to wrestle simply for the fact that they have to wrestle boys. But I think once that's taken away, they'll know that they can be comfortable in our wrestling room.
And you've got a pretty sweet setup here. I've seen your wrestling room over there, and you basically have your own wrestling room, and it's got an adjoining door going to the boys' room. But that's way you can separate it out. It's like, here's the boys' room, here's the girls' room, and you really, it's almost like your own separate sport. And you see the guys over there working out, and you may have some dual kind of training drills and stuff you do, but you've got your own room, your own workout, your own set of coaches, and your own season. So I think that's a good setup that you guys have.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I mean, I'm personally really proud of our school for making it where we can have our own girls team, and I think it's great that we're growing it, and even our community, we really see the support within it, and it's awesome that we have our own coaches. They're really dedicated to us. They care about us, and even Myers, our head coach for the boys, he really puts in his time and work, and we're thankful for what we've got.
Well, the only reason that we're here today is because you have local sponsors like Troy Jackson, the Jay County Wrestling Club, and the Fort Wrestling Facility, and the Indiana Girls Wrestling Association that have just really promoted this, and they've stepped up to allow us to bring this to you. And I congratulate you on your regional win today, and I wish you success at what's going to be a pretty tough semi-state for you next week. So congratulations and good luck next week.
Thank you.
That's been Mallory Winter of the Jay County Patriots. And I'll ask her if you see Emma Jones down there, send her back up. They got scared and they left, so send them back up. Thanks, Mallory, for sitting in for that interview. It's a good interview, and they're getting ready to do some awards presentations down there right now. And I think we'll get some of those champions come up here after the presentation. So let's go back here to the results, and I will see team score as this tournament has ended. And your team champion today is Jay County, as they won this going away with 58 team points. Blackford in second with 41. Muncie Central in third with 35. Westdale in fourth with 23. Right behind them, Monroe Central with 22. And right behind them in sixth place is Cowan with 20. Daleville with 13. Southern Wells, Adams Central, Belmont, Bluffton Delta did not put any wrestlers into this tournament today, so Southern Wells finishes with 3 points in the top 8 places. They start handing out awards now, as I will get down to the brackets. Let's see, Welch team, and we got another wrestler to come up here. She got her ribbon and made her way up. She put that headset on, young lady. Put that microphone down by your mouth. Start talking so I can hear you.
Hey.
You there?
I think so.
Yeah, there you are. I can hear you a little bit better.
All right.
Now, because I recognize the boys, I don't recognize the girls as much. Go ahead and tell me who you are.
I'm Katie Rouse.
I thought you were Katie Rouse. You kind of look like your brother. I've seen your brother wrestle for enough years.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming up here. I saw you run down there and get your ribbon. And what's it like to get your first regional? Because you're just a freshman, correct?
I'm a sophomore.
You're a sophomore, okay. Now, is this the first year you wrestled?
This is my second year.
Okay. Now, who are some of the people you're going to run into next week at semi-state coming out of here as a regional champion? You get a pretty good draw, but who are some other people that you're going to run into next week that are going to give you some competition?
I'm really not sure what all teams are there. I haven't looked at the brackets much, but I know there's a pretty good girl from East Noble, and man, I can't remember what other schools are there, but there's going to be a lot of competitions.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to come up here and talk with us, and your team comes out with a team championship here today, and I think that's just due to sheer numbers. What have you and Mallory and some of the other girls in Jay County done to help get some girls out of the hallway that you didn't think would be wrestlers that have made their way to your team?
We've all been working pretty hard to try to grow the numbers of our team. We'll just talk to everybody about it. And, I mean, we get shut down more often than get a new girl, but it's always worth it.
Well, I mean, you try and get 10 girls out, and if you get 3 of the 10 or 2 of the 10, I mean, that's still a good percentage. But,
yeah.
I mean, for Jay County, we covered the first full dual meet there earlier this year between Columbia City. Columbia City almost has a full roster. You guys are close to have a full roster. I mean, what do you think for these teams that are actually building enough girls to have full teams? I know Penn High School has like 2 full teams that have so many people, but what are your impressions of schools that have been able to get enough people out to get full teams and make this a full sport?
Something that definitely helps is having a successful boys team, because when they see the success, they want to come down and they want to be a part of it. And especially if, like, the boys on the team have sisters, it's a lot easier to get them into it.
Yeah, because in your case, your dad is one of the assistant coaches, and like Coach Meyer said, he had some dads that were willing to step up to help run that program. And people don't realize, but when you start a girls program, you need a full set of girls coaches. You need a room to practice. You need you need to have officials to referee the matches. So it's a big undertaking to bring these teams out, but I'm glad that Jay County has done that, and I congratulate for your win today, and wish you success next week.
Thank you.
And I've got somebody else coming up here. I'll send somebody up here. Have this next young lady come up. This is a young lady from Daleville. And she's coming up here. And I'll get to the updates here as she makes her way in and puts this headset on here. Got him coming up here. Go ahead and put that on, young lady. Let's test that microphone. Say something there.
Yeah.
And who do I have the pleasure of speaking with right now?
Kinley Keffer,
Okay, and what weight class did you win today?
105.
And I watched you wrestle, and you were very aggressive. I think you pinned your way through this tournament, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
And what are some of the things that have inspired you to become a wrestler on this girls team for Daleville?
So originally, my dad said that I couldn't do it because I was a girl, and so then
That's dads for you.
my goal was to prove him wrong. So
Well, I tell you what, I mean, with the influence here, with the number of girls teams girls tournaments are available today, if you tell a girl that you will only practice against girls and you only have to wrestle against girls in tournaments, do you think that has boosted in numbers to the position we are today?
I think it got a bunch of like the younger girls who are a little scared to come to practice. We've got a bunch of girls on our middle school team, so that's really exciting because I've never like had an actual girls team.
Now, did you wrestle for the boys team as their 106-pounder this year?
Yes, we did.
And how successful were you this year?
I've only lost one match.
Well, there you go. So you proved your dad wrong. Even if you do have to wrestle against boys, you've been very successful. And I congratulate you on your win today, and I wish you good luck next week at the semi-state.
Thank you.
All right. Why don't you send Emma Jones up here? We're waiting to see Collins Emma Jones come up here. Test that microphone there, Emma. How you doing, Emma?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Put that a little bit closer to you right there. I had your coach, Tony Abbott, up here talking, and we talked about you seem to be the only girl that was running the legs today. Do you practice running legs a lot?
Yeah.
That is an advantage because there are not a lot of girls running legs out there that it makes it tough for girls on the bottom that are not used to being ridden with legs and think, man, this is something different. But you were very, very successful today, and did you pin your way through today, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Okay, you remain undefeated. I think you go to 20-0 right now, and you make your way to the semi-state next week. And who are some of the girls that are going to challenge you next week's semi-state?
I don't really know. It just depends.
Well, right now, I think you're ranked number 3 in the state overall per Indiana Mat. But that's one of those things. You just take each match as they come, and you're not concerned with who the next match is. You just take them on, right?
Yep.
Tell you what, how did you get started in wrestling?
My brother wrestled, and when I was in preschool, I would go to the practices and watch.
Preschool. Man, you're in preschool. You're always thinking about wrestling, huh?
Yep.
Well, I tell you what, I'm glad that you've made your way up here and talked to me today. Well, this interview will probably be on, if you go to, these kids these days, you know all this stuff. You just go to YouTube on WZBD Radio, click on that, and it'll come up, Girls Wrestling Regional Jay County, click on it, and you can listen to the whole event, hear all your matches, you can hear this interview, and you kids, you'll figure that stuff out pretty quick, won't you?
Yeah.
I tell you what, I appreciate you coming up, and good luck next week.
Thank you.
And now I think Leah Lingo is down here. Let's see if somebody else coming up here. Go ahead and put that headset on, young lady. Put that microphone up by your mouth and give it a test.
Hello.
Hello. Why don't you tell me who you are?
Reagan Quattlebaum.
Reagan Quattlebaum. I see a lot of names come through. I saw Quattlebaum, and that's one that was kind of a little bit tough for me. I'll tell you what, you were very aggressive today. I think you pinned your way through the tournament, didn't you?
Yeah.
What's your record this year? You only have like...
For girls, it's 3-1, I think.
Okay. But did you wrestle on your boys' team? Were you one of the weight classes for your boys' team this year?
Yeah.
You're a Muncie Central Bearcat, right?
Monroe Central.
Monroe Central Bearcat. I'm sorry. I got some Muncie Central, Monroe Central. But what got you into wrestling in general, not just boys or girls, but wrestling as a whole?
My brother.
Did he make you, or he just convinced you it was something cool to do?
I don't know. I just liked watching him, and then I started, and I enjoyed it.
Now, does it make a difference that would you rather wrestle just against girls, or do you think wrestling against boys gives you a better challenge and makes you a little bit better?
I think it makes me better.
Well, there's some physicalities there, difference, because boys seem to just be a little more physically aggressive, a little bit stronger. But I think there's some great things. Now, do you train with just girls, or do you train with boys on the boys team as well?
The boys on the boys team.
Okay. I tell you what, I wish you success next week at the semi-state over at Rochester, and congratulations on your win today.
Thank you.
That's been Monroe Central. It's Quattlebaum here, and now we got a couple of Jay County wrestlers up here. She worked so hard for that ribbon, she almost left it lay up here, didn't she? Put that mic up here. Now, I've seen enough Jay County matches. I believe this is Leah Lingo, correct?
Yes.
We've covered some Jay County matches this year, and it's kind of an honor that Jay County has enough girls to wrestle full teams, and we've been able to cover some full dual meets. What do you attribute to the participation as well as it has been for this Jay County squad? Well, I mean, what have you done to help get more girls interested and get them out here in team and strengthen your team?
We just talk to people. We just go out and, like, any new kid, any new person that comes to our school, we go up to them and see if they're interested. I mean, we never stop talking about it. We're always saying, you should join the wrestling team. You should join the wrestling team.
You tell them it's really fun to have somebody hit you with a crossface right up front of the face and crank you around. And
We don't let them see anything, any of the matches beforehand. We just like
surprise.
Yeah.
Get them in there and work them over. But I mean, wrestling is a tough physical sport. What are some of the other sports you play outside of wrestling season?
I just wrestle.
You just solely wrestle. You've dedicated yourself to wrestling season, and it's one of those things. Did you put in some good time this summer working on some summer matches?
Yeah, I went to Colorado and Virginia Beach, and I wrestled there.
Well, Colorado, it gets a little cold out there, but Colorado's pretty beautiful. But Virginia Beach, I could spend some time in Virginia Beach. That's a nice place to visit.
It was actually really cold when we went there. I thought it was going to be 90 degrees. I packed for the sun and was disappointed.
Well, you're working hard wrestling, and so you don't get to spend a lot of times playing. But you worked hard today, and you got the championship. And looking forward towards next week, and wish you success over at Rochester next week.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Send the next person up here, and we'll get another person on the air here in a second.
Okay.
That was Leah Lingo from Jay County. Got some more girls up here. Let's see if somebody else wants to come up here. Come up and put that headset on. So now the headset's been on. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself here from the Monroe Bearcats?
All right, my name is Michaela Brainerd.
Michaela Brenner. Brainerd.
Yeah.
And Coach Myers from Jay County is up here, and he said that a few years ago you were a student here at Jay County. He tried to get you to come out and go to wrestling. He said apparently Monroe Central is a little bit more successful in talking to come out for wrestling. What finally convinced you to come out for the wrestling team for the Monroe Central?
Actually, it wasn't anything with convincing. I wasn't allowed to wrestle.
Okay.
My parents didn't want me to, and so when I moved to Monroe Central and turned 18, I was like, you know what, we're gonna do it. And I just walked up in the wrestling room one day. They didn't even know I was showing up. They're like, oh, a female, wow. And I was actually the only girl in the room, and then all the other girls just spawned.
Okay. Now that there's a girls tournament and there's a girls series, and next year it's going to be sanctioned as a girls sport, have your parents bought into the fact that girls wrestling's okay?
I'm actually a senior, so this is my only year
Okay.
doing it. But yeah, they're getting more into it, and they're allowing my little brother to do it too.
Okay.
And he's in 8th grade, so hopefully he can go far.
Well, I tell you what, it's a great thing to have, and I'm glad that you were able to call in and come up here and sit in and talk with me, and I appreciate you taking the time to see us up here, and wish you success next week to semi-state.
Thank you. Probably going to need it.
Take care.
You too.
It's been Monroe Central's Miss Brainerd. Let's see who we have coming up here. Let's see. I know we have a Jay County wrestler coming up here. You need to put that on so I can hear you, and you can hear me.
Okay.
And you girls are pretty proud of those regional first place ribbons. That's a pretty color. You know, instead of blue like the blue for regular boys, it's kind of a seafoam blue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, who am I having the pleasure of speaking with here?
Callie Yates.
Callie Yates. What weight did you wrestle here today?
I'm sorry, what?
What weight did you wrestle here today?
120.
120. And she's a first place champion at 120 to give you a good seed to go into the semi-state next week. Some of these girls haven't looked forward, but do you know who some of the people are going to have to wrestle next week coming in as a regional champion? You're going to give you some challenges next week?
I think so, yeah.
You going to tell me who they are, or are you just going to keep it a secret?
Well, I don't know exactly, but I know I'm going to have, challenges.
Okay. Well, I'm certain that when the draws come out, they'll come out later on this week, and you'll get to see who you're going to wrestle and start to scout them up. But what is your record right now in the season?
Like now it's 7-10.
Okay. I tell you what, I'm glad that you had good success here. You won today and advanced to the semi-state next week or at Rochester, and we wish you luck next week. Appreciate you coming up and talking to us.
All right, thank you.
It's been Callie Yates of Jay County High School. Let's see if there's any more girls coming up here. I do have one. I think Miss Flores from Blackford is on her way up here. Go ahead and put the headset on. Now go ahead and tell, I think I know who you are, but go ahead and tell me who you are.
My name is Addison Flores.
Addison Flores. And Addison, you had a couple of barn burner matches today. One, you come from behind to get a win, and then you end up getting the championship today. There's some good competition here for you today, and you had one of the bigger weight classes. And were some of these matches surprises to you, or had you wrestled some of these girls already before this season?
The girl from Muncie Central, Cadence, I wrestled her. Last year I beat her twice, but this year I saw her and I'm like, dang, she's gotten a lot bigger. And so like, I was really excited when I was able to roll her around. And same thing from that girl from Jay County. I was actually really scared today coming here. I was like, gosh, I better. But I'm really glad that I was able to come out with the win.
I'll tell you what, you had some close matches, but you come out and you get that pretty blue ribbon there as a regional champion today, and that'll set you up good to go in as a number one, as a champion coming out of your regional, going to the semi-state for this year and into next week's semi-state, and I wish you success next week.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I appreciate that. That's been Miss Flores from Blackford. If you want to send the next young lady on up here. These young ladies are so aggressive on the mat, but then they get up here and they're pretty shy with me. See which ones are shy on air. So test that microphone, young lady.
Hi.
A little bit more.
Hi.
Test that. Why don't you go ahead and tell me who you are, where you're from.
Reagan Jackson from Delville.
And what place did you get today?
I got first place.
You don't have your pretty blue ribbon in your hand. Oh, she's got it stuck in her pocket there.
Yep.
That's the only way I know. What weight class did you win today?
I won 190.
190. And there, I saw several of your matches. Did you struggle in any of your matches? You think you wrestled pretty dominant today?
Came in a little nervous just because I'm a freshman, got a little jitters, but once I got in there, I was just like, gotta have confidence, and felt pretty good.
Who are some of the people you think are going to give you some challenges next week for the semi-state?
I don't know. I'm undefeated for girls, so I'm hoping I'm doing good.
Well, there you go. Well, I'm certain that your coaches will look forward and they'll see who you're going to have to wrestle next week, and they'll get you set up and get ready to go for that tournament, and that is next Friday at Rochester. And I congratulations today, and wish you success for next week.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Got a couple more girls standing in line here. Doing a good job of making their way up here. Get that headset on there.
Yeah.
And I have a young lady. You're one of the Westdale Warriors, I see. Who am I speaking with?
Paisley Chambers.
Paisley Chambers. And what weight class did you win today?
170.
She was a 70-pound champion. And did you think that you would have as good a success today as you actually did have, or was some of these girls were challenges for you today?
Well, my first match was I got it over in first period, so it was pretty easy. But that girl's tough, and I've wrestled her before. And second match, I had to wrestle my teammate. So drilling with your partner for practice is just really difficult.
And I saw that both of you had pretty similar records, and I know that workout partner, that was a pretty close match, but that's the problem with wrestling somebody that you wrestle every day in practice, that you got to find another move or two to throw in there to throw them off. But having good workout partners just makes you better in the end.
Yeah, it's just hard to figure out a move that they don't know you're going to do.
Or you just figure out a move that you can do so well that nobody can stop it.
Yeah.
What's your record on the season then now?
20-2.
That's pretty successful, pretty good record for you. And do you have how many girls are on your team?
Only 3 right now for high school.
And what do you think you need to do to get out in the hallway and convince some of those other girls to come out and wrestle?
Well, we've got some middle schoolers coming in, so we've been talking to a bunch of the cheer girls, and they've been telling their friends, and a bunch of them are coming in, but they're all middle school right now.
Well, you got to start them young because you got to get that fever into them when they're in middle school, so that when they work their way into high school, they'll be ready to go. And as you know, that most likely are going to sanction girls sport as an IHSAA official sport next year, and that'll be the point where you know that you're wrestling only girls, and that's probably a good selling point to some of these girls, saying that you don't have to wrestle against boys, that you can wrestle just girls and be successful.
Yeah, I think that's why most girls are really scared of wrestling, is because some of them will have to wrestle boys. But I think with the girls sanctioning, I feel like we'll get a bunch more girls coming in.
Well, the numbers have grown from a few years ago when there was 200, and then there was 400, 600 last year. This year, today, registered to wrestle in these regionals, these 16 regionals around the state, was 1,059 girls. And that number has just really grown to the point, and I know as a girl it may surprise you, but then again it might not surprise you to know that this sport is the #1 growing sport in the country, is women's wrestling right now. How do you feel about that?
That's awesome. I'm really proud of every girl that's at least tried it.
I'll tell you what, it just takes, it's one of those things. I know when I was a little kid way back when, a long time ago, went to the first practice, and all those times I used to get in trouble for fighting when I was a little kid. I found a place where you can go and you get applauded for doing it, and my mom came home and was like, so you're not going to be wrestling around at home. And my brother and I used to fight like cats and dogs, so I found some place to actually vent my anger on the wrestling mat, and it worked out. I mean, what other sports do you play in high school?
I actually don't do any other sports. I do a lot of off-season wrestling.
There you go. Dedicated one-sport athlete. I appreciate it. So congratulations on your win today, and I wish you luck next week at semi-state.
Thank you.
All right. And I think that's the last girl I have standing in line, and those interviews will be up later on WZBD YouTube channel under the girls regional. And I will now go to results, and I will see final results. Our final results here at 100 pounds even is Katie Riles of Jay County in first, Madison Henderson of Blackford second, and Maria Oliphant of Monroe Central is third. At 105, it's Kinley Kiefer of Daleville, your champion, Jade Dawson of Westdale in second, and Sophia Thomas of Jay County in third. At 110 pounds, your first place winner was Michaela Brainerd of Monroe Central, and your second place was Kylie Shell of Muncie Central. At 115 pounds, first place goes to Emma Jones of Cowens as she remains undefeated on the season. Second place goes to Shania Gentili of Blackford. Third is Jolie Tallman of Blackford. Fourth is Tatiana Willis of Jay County. At 120, it's first place goes to Callie Yates of Jay County. Second place goes to Courtney Thrash of Muncie Central. Third place goes to Elizabeth Wendell of Jay County. 125, your champion was Naomi Galen of Muncie Central. She was a winner over Sarah Yoho of Blackford. At 135, it was first place going to Leah Lingo of Jay County. Second place goes to Erica Jones of Muncie Central. At 140, first place goes to Emily Maynard of Jay County. Your second place goes to Leah Rollins of Muncie Central. At 145 pounds, it was Addison Flores of Blackford, your champion. She was a winner over Cadence Jones of Muncie Central in a final and a fall in at 322. Third place goes to Malia Parsons of Jay County. At 170, first place goes to Paisley Chambers of Westdale. I'm sorry, let's jump back as I skip 155 because this is the top here. Mallory Winter of Jay County was your winner. And she advances, and she is undefeated, still ranked number 1 in the state at 155. Second place goes to Madison Gage, her teammate of Jay County. And she was a winner by fall in a minute 5. Third place goes to Amaya Stoudemire of Muncie Central. Fourth goes to Chelsea Irwin of Monroe Central. Fifth place goes to Laura McVicker of Blackford. Sixth place goes to Danica Sorensen of Southern Wells. 155 was the largest weight class here today with 6 girls in it. After 155, we jump to 170. Your champion today at 170 is Paisley Chambers of Westdale, who we just interviewed. Second place goes to Sophia Gropp of Westdale. Third place goes to Jocelyn Sutton of Muncie Central. Fourth place goes to Tessa Miller of Jay County. At 190, first place goes to Reagan Jackson of Daleville, and second place goes to Sydney Huffle of Jay County. Rounding this out at 235 pounds, Lexi Edwards of Muncie Central was unopposed. She is your winner today at 235 pounds. As we go back to results for teams, team scores, Jay County was your winner here today with 58 points. Blackford second with 41. Muncie Central third with 35. Westdale 23. Monroe Central with 22 as they round out the top 5. Cowan, Daleville, Southern Wells all follow along in line. These girls will advance to the semi-state next week at Rochester High School, and that will be at on a Friday, and I believe Dane Filling will be covering that. Not sure yet if it'll be on the air or on YouTube, but stay tuned, as I'm certain that he will have all the information out there on WZBD.com to keep you tuned in. And with that, I'd like to play this last little round out, as you hear on all the wrestling matches. And we appreciate you tuning in today. We appreciate all of our sponsors that have brought to you Wrestling on the Radio today. And with that, stay tuned for more wrestling on WZBD.
You've been listening to exciting high school wrestling. Brought to you in part by the many community-minded sponsors you heard. And a special presentation of 92.7 WZBD Sports.